We are back. UFC 312. Jenkins du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. This is our best breakdowns, predictions, whatever you want to call it show. I'm your host, Picks by Pegasus, Key3Picks, Dravhy, and our very special guest, first time on the podcast, Uncle Weezy. Unc, thanks for joining us, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I watch this show every week. You guys are all sharp. I love that you all obviously watch tape and break it down in ways that are very, very useful for the people who watch your show, including me. So it's an honor to be part of the group tonight. Let's find some spots to smash these bookies this week.
Absolutely. We're going to get right into it too, honestly. First fight of the night we have, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good name pronunciation for this one. Okay, we have Hyung-Sung Park versus the Art of Knockout, Tumendemberel, right?
Pretty good.
All right.
Not bad.
Okay. Park, 9-0, 29, 5'7", 66 inch reach. The Art of the Knockout, we'll call him 8-1, 26, 5'7", 71 inch reach. Odds on these two gentlemen, you can get Park anywhere from minus 220 to 230. You can get Art of the Knockout anywhere from plus 175 to plus 195. Weezy, you're our guest. We're going to have you going first. You think Park's able to find an early sub here, or do we think the knockout finds the knockout?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because when I saw the line at first, I think I saw Tumendemberel at like plus 230. And I was like, wow, that's a big plus money number. Because I bet on Hyun-Sung Park when he fought Choi. And I remember betting that sub prop at something like plus 425. And this clown didn't shoot a takedown until the third round. He got dropped in the first round. He got dropped in the second round. And I was screaming at my television. And as soon as he grappled, he got this guy down. He got to his back and he finished him with the rear naked choke. But I didn't like the fight IQ there. And I think that this guy, Tumendemberel, hits a lot harder than Choi does. So when I looked at this fight, I went through the strength of schedule. I found it pretty close to being even. I think these guys have fought a similar level of competition. I like Tumendemberel on the feet. I think he's the better striker. I think Park is the much better grappler, though. I think he's way more likely to finish this fight via submission or have, success winning minutes or moments in the grappling exchanges. But yeah, Tumendemberel's 2 years younger, 5-inch reach advantage. He's a good striker. He's got some power, and I think that he's going to be able to maybe keep this fight close and limit the grappling exchanges. I got him winning the decision here. So yeah, I got Nyam Jargo winning by decision, and I put a bet on his money line at plus 180.
You're muted.
Very nice. I like that too. I think I like Toomey to win by knockout here. Kind of like you said, we saw Park hurt a few times on tape. He's gonna have the wrestling upside, but this guy swings hard, swings heavy. Looking at the fight, I don't mind the under actually, because I could see, if Park gets our knockouts back, he could find a rear naked choke. But also, like I said, I could see a KO here. Under at plus 175 on Circa, or you could do plus 155 on Bet US. I mean, I'm happy with both those lines. I think we see some violence here. What do you think, Dravhy?
Yeah, I share a lot of the same thoughts as Wizzy on this one. I think the fight's going to be very volatile in a way because Park, I rate his grappling. I think his back take is very nice, very good rear naked choke. He's aggressive with it. But the things I don't like is he doesn't wrestle a lot. Like a lot of his, watch his tapes and he likes to strike, and sometimes he needs to get hurt or he needs to, he doesn't shoot a lot of takedowns, and his wrestling is not that good. But his grappling is pretty slick, actually. I like it. But again, every fight start on the feet, and I don't really think this guy's going to wrestle that much. With that being the case, I mean, Tumendemberel, the guy's a man. I fade him in his debut with Carlos Hernandez, and you can make an argument that he won that fight in all honesty based on damage, and he almost hurt him every round. Like, he hurt him in the first round at the end, and he hurt him in the third round. And I thought this grappling defense looked better in that fight than what we've seen on Road to UFC, which, it's probably accurate because the guy's young, probably going to improve fight to fight. And yeah, on the field, like I said, he's a wide man. He has more power than Park does, and I also think he has a better chin. Park, I've seen him get dropped in some fights. Not a good look, and I don't like his defense. Not to say my guy Tumendemberel has good defense, but he has a good chin, so I like that. I think why the fight's on the feet is going to be the one landing the bigger shot, doing more damage, potentially scoring a knockdown or even a knockout. And yeah, so I don't really understand this line. I guess Park could take him down early and choke him out. That's possible. Toomey, he's shown some bad grappling tapes off his back, but again, I think the guy has improved recently. And Park, he only averaged 1.5 takedown per fight at 27% clip, so it's not that good. And on the feet, I feel like Tumendemberel is probably the favorite based on power and durability. So I also think he's going to be the one pressuring. So, and then you add the fact that Park's coming back after a year and 2 months layoff. He had a knee injury in his last fight. You need to pull out him. And yeah, knocking out Shannon Ross doesn't really tell me much. And I mean, Shannon Ross outstruck this guy at distance, 46-36. So not a great look, but yeah, he won that fight based on chin. But, in the striking, I mean, Ross has some success. So yeah, I think the line is way too wide here.
What do you think, Key?
Yeah, I'm not going to waste time here. I agree with the rest of the panel. Park's back takes are legit. I think this line is predicated on him getting the grappling going early, takedowns early on. If not, I think the shit gets scary, chaotic. I can't blame Uncle Ouija for plus 185, I believe, on Tuma. I think that's a solid number. It's dog or pass in this situation for me.
Gotcha. All right, let's just do comments real quick before we move on. What's happening, Glenbot? Dixon Sider, what's happening, bro? Thanks for joining us, guys. Young, what's happening, man? There you go. That's great to hear. Edward Bryan, what's happening, bro? Champ, our boy, you're here every week. He thinks he's on the Park side here. Okay. Lucrative, bro, friend of the show. Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate the kind words. Glenbot, what's happening? Prop, thank you for joining as well. Let's get it, bro. Let's cash this week. Wavy JV. Uncle, this is your boy. Yep. Prop agrees with me. Violence. I like the under as well. All right. Moving on to this next fight here. Next fight we have is Anshul Jubli versus Quillian Salkilld. Let's see. Quillian Salkilld, 7-1, 25, 6 feet tall, 75-inch reach. Anshul Jubli, 7-1, 30, 6 feet tall, 69-inch reach. Odds in these two gentlemen, you can get Salkilld anywhere from minus 650 to minus 700 at this point. You can get Jubli anywhere from plus 500 to plus 400. Drav, I'm going to have you go first. I think Quillian is going to smoke Jubli. I think he's a better grappler. I think he's a better striker. I think he's better cardio, has more of a dog in him, better all the way across the board. Minus 700 at this point seems a bit wide. What do you think?
I mean, if he has a dog, man, that's not going to be good for Jubli, bro. But so you're actually wrong on the name here, and I'm surprised because I've listened to an interview of Salkilld, and I thought his name was Salkilld, but he actually pronounced it Salkilld. So I was surprised. I didn't know that, but I heard the guy himself say his name, and he said it that way. So not to correct you, Peg. I'm sure everybody got it wrong this week, so it's okay. But yeah, I mean, Salkilld, I'm high on the guy. I've wrote down after the Dana White Contender Series, the top 5 prospect to watch for, and he's in my top 5 list. I bet him on Dana White Contender Series. I think the guy is very good, super well-rounded. He has a good frame for the division, very good cardio. Like I said, he's good everywhere. He's a tough dude, good grappler, good striker, tough guy. I'm pretty sure he has top 15 ceiling in his career. The thing, though, is like he's still very young. He's 25 years old. He's making his UFC debut on the pay-per-view at home. So we know sometimes these fighters, when they go in their debut, they don't have the best performance. So just something to take note of, especially because he's a minus 700 favorite right now. So I know people are very low on Jubli right now, but we need to put some context into it. There's a lot of recency bias in this line. Jubli was like minus 500 last fight. Can you check, Peg? It was something around these lines, I'm pretty sure, against Mike Braden.
Yeah,
I think it was even like -6.
Minus 600, right? So he turned to be a minus 600 and everybody's parlay to being a plus 500 the fight after that. So massive market overcorrection in that fight. And both these guys are 7-1, similar build. And I was kind of, in the top of my head, I thought he got beat the fuck up against Mike Braden. But watching back the fight, he was up 2-0 all three judges' scorecard. And he lost the fight because Mike Braden, he started to bark at him and he broke him. That was like one of the craziest shit I've ever seen. So obviously when you see a guy getting broken like that and like quitting on himself because he's scared, or I don't know, he also was gassed out, but still not a good look. And Mike Braden is not a good fighter either. So I think Quinlan's going to win. Obviously, he's probably going to like beat him up late. But skill-wise, Jubli does have some skills. Good jab, good 1-2, decent grappler of his own. I like his get-up game also. I've noticed when he gets taken down, he doesn't spend a lot of time on bottom. So, and on the feed, Salkilld is not minus 700 here, I don't think. Maybe he's going to knock him out. That's live. But, I mean, the fight is like a pick him to go over 2.5 rounds. And if that's the case and Salkilld is not finishing him, I feel like Jubli is going to compete more than the line indicates. So I can get behind my boy here. I don't think he's going to lose to Jubli in his debut, but I feel like the line is too wide. Probably Salkilld should be minus 300, but they put him at minus 700 and everybody's parlaying him this week. But again, everybody were on Jubli in his last fight. If you look on Instagram, he took some time off. He still, he looked in great shape, and he also said that like he couldn't run before because he had knee problems, I think, that are solved now. So maybe he comes here after the layoff and he looks better, and maybe Salkilld doesn't look as good in his debut. So minus 700, just please avoid it. Doesn't it doesn't add anything to your parlay anyway. If you like Salkilld, you want to play money on him, I recommend playing round 2-3 for him. It's probably the way he's going to finish the fight if he does, and if he does finish, that's how he's going to cover this price tag.
Yeah, I agree. I think Salkilld finds the finish here as well. Key, what are you thinking?
Yeah, this is a Salkilld spot. I believe I had 4 units on him on Dana White Contender Series. Like Dravhy, I'm pretty high on him. I hope that he becomes a little bit more defensively responsible over the span of his career. But, I mean, we know what translates for him at this level. His pace and pressure, his activity is elite. I think he's going to pace the shit out of Jubli here. Round 2, round 3 finish. I think sub. That's where I lean. But this guy's good. I hope that they continue to slow roll him a good bit because I think he does need the time, but he has a lot of tools and traits that can make him elite in this division.
Uncle Weezy, what are you thinking? Yeah, I agree with Key's breakdown there for sure. I see round 2, round 3 here. He was a minus 280 favorite in the last fight against Breeden, so actually minus 270. But if you look at the 2 fights before that, he was plus 160 Anshul Jubli to Kyung-Po Kim, right? And that's a close fight going into the 3rd round. And you look at Anshul Jubli on the stool between rounds 2 and 3 there, his coach is like really trying to get him fired up. He looks exhausted. He looks like he doesn't want to go back out there for the 3rd. And then we saw what Breeden did to him in the 3rd. So I think the market got a little carried away going into that Breeden fight about what Jubli's ceiling was, because he was plus 160 to Kyung-Po Kim. And then in the road to UFC finals, he's a pick'em against Jekka Sergey, and he dominates him in the grappling exchanges that fight. But I think Breeden might have even won the 2nd round of the Jubli fight. He was turning the tables there. And yeah, Jubli's conditioning has got a lot of work to do. And Salkilld has got phenomenal conditioning, and he pushes a pace, dude. Like, he's trying to hit you hard on the feet. He's mixing his takedown attempts with his striking, and he is going to the wrestling over and over again. So I think he's going to put a pace on Jubli. I don't think Jubli's going to like it, and I don't like his conditioning to begin with here. So I think Salkilld round 3 sub, maybe a late round 2 sub or ground and pound. I think that's how this one goes.
I agree. All right, let's take a look at our next fight here. Actually, we'll go through comments real quick. while we do that. Hot take from Champs, usually pretty hot. He thinks Jubli's live here. I agree, it's out of hand. Minus 700 is kind of crazy. Thanks, Prop, for checking. Jubli was minus 900 versus Breeden. Glimbot thinks Salkilld by decision. Add another mispronunciation by me. Nothing new there. Quinn Jubli over 1.5. Okay. That's actually pretty interesting stat, 70%. Plus 650 for round 3, sub round 2. Dixon's calling it. All right. Next fight, Kevin Jousset versus Jonathan Micallef. However you want to pronounce it. They say it's Kevin Jousset, right? But Drav, am I not wrong here? Isn't it French? So it's Kevin Jousset. But
yeah, I think so. But I'm
either way, we don't got to get picky here. We'll call it Kevin Jousset, 10-3, 31, 6'2", 75-inch reach. Jonathan Micallef, 7-1, 25, 6 feet tall, 77.5-inch reach. It's a big reach for this weight class. Line on these two gentlemen, you get Jousset anywhere from minus 250 to minus 270. You can get Micallef anywhere from plus 210 to plus 220. All right, Micallef is how it's pronounced, I guess, from Dixon Cider. Key, I'm going to have you go first here. I mean, we saw early in Jousset's tape, if you went back to his regionals, the only guy he lost to was a grappling match. Grappling seems to make him tired, although he is a judo guy. He's a judo black belt. He's a BJJ black belt. And now he's going against a grappler who's got some crazy physical, long arms, big body, kind of big dude in general. You think it's going to cause an issue here, or do you think Jousset stunts on him, gives him a good welcome to the UFC?
Yeah, I think Jousset stunts on him. This is a pretty clear fight for me. I'm not looking to parlay a guy like Jousset just because I don't think that he has enough power and pop. But I will say, he does all the right things at a basic level. The jab, low kick, the CKB special, so to speak. I think that his takedown defense is going to look pretty solid here. Micallef, I think that he's going to just have to try to create chaos and wild grappling exchanges. And I do think that he does hold some advantage on the ground, but I'm not going to sit here and act like it's one takedown is the round or the fight here. I think that Jousset's going to be able to maintain distance. And I can't imagine here a situation where Jousset just gasses out in round 3. I will say he doesn't wear damage that well due to his complexion, and it always seems like he has a bloody nose. So that's one thing to look out for. So I'm not necessarily rushing to parlay. Was it minus 250 right now?
Yeah, 225 and minus 250.
Yeah, so I'm not running to go parlay that. But I do think that he's a winner here. I'm not looking to take the dog shot. Micallef, I think on the feet, he is just lacking a lot. It's really awkward for him, it seems. He does have a nice head kick, and he goes to it a lot. We saw that on regionals, and I expect for that to translate big time to UFC. So that's something to look out for. But outside of that, I think that Jousset cruises on the feet. I wouldn't be surprised to see a clear decision. Or if we even see that calf get eaten up in round 3, starts to look pretty dark from Micallef. So this is actually a pretty fun fight. I know that everybody's shitting on this card, but this is one of the fights I'm actually pretty interested to just see how it plays out. I think that there could be some funny outcomes here.
Uncle Weezy, what are you thinking? Do you agree with Key here?
I think that this line is way too wide on Jousset, but I'm picking him to win. I think he wins a decision here, but I think Jousset has virtually no finish upside. It's my personal opinion here, so I'm kind of surprised to see Jousset by decision at plus 140 or plus 160 and his money line at minus 278 on Bet Rivers right now. I think that's a big diversion for a guy in Jousset that I don't think has a lot of power. I don't think he's got a brilliant submission game. This guy is going to decision in 5-round fights with mediocre fighters on the Australian regional scene. So I don't think he's going to finish Micallef. If I had to make a bet on the money line, I'd bet Micallef at plus 215. I think he's got some upside at that number. But I'm really surprised with Jousset sitting around minus 250 that his decision prop isn't like minus 150. That's the way I feel it. I just don't see him having finish upside here against Micallef unless he has some nerves or an adrenaline dump because this is his UFC debut in front of a live crowd. But Yeah, man. I think that this is Jousset by decision, but I'm surprised by the money line.
Key or a drop? What are you thinking here?
I don't have the strongest read on this one. I feel like you can make a case on both sides. I tend to agree with Weezy in the sense that I don't really think Jousset's going to finish him. But yeah, he's the way better striker. He's better defensively, even though he get hit a lot. But still, Micallef he's kind of punching back, in all honesty. But he's pretty tough to his credit, making his debut here. He's a big athletic guy. Watching back Jousset, even on the regional prior to UFC, his takedown defense is very solid, and he has also a very good clinch game. I know he got beat up in the clinch by Battle, but Battle was just better than him in the clinch. But here in this fight, I feel like he's going to be the better fighter in the clinch, and I also believe that he's going to be able to defend the takedowns. So he's probably going to outstrike Micallef to a decision. The way I see it, the over is chalk, and Jousset is minus 255. So the decision prop makes sense to me. I'll say, though, I think Micallef can win some moments. He does swing a lot, and Jousset can be hittable. So I think Micallef has some big moments upside in the fight that could potentially swing rounds. And he does have some type of grappling upside in this fight, but I don't think he's that good. So we'll see what happens. But I feel like Jousset get back to his winning way here. And people talking shit about him for the Battle fight, but yeah, he did pretty good in early on. But Battle broke him, pressure and cardio. But let's not talk like Jousset cardio is bad. If you look on regional and all of his fight, his cardio is good, but the Battle fight was just so, like, the pace in that fight was insane, like crazy. So I don't think Micallef is going to push a pace like that. And yeah, Battle is just a way better fighter than this guy. So that's a step down for Jousset, and that's a step up for Micallef. So the right guy is favored here, maybe a little bit wide on the money line, but I believe he's going to win a decision.
I mean, the Butcher was never going to lose a fist fight to a French dude. We all knew that. I definitely knew that going into that fight. I think that's why, people are kind of down on Kevin Jousset right now. I disagree. I think this is a good fight for him. I think this is a great bounce back spot for him. I think Micallef is way too hittable. I think he looks to go to body locks pretty often to get takedowns. You try and shoot a body lock and get a body lock takedown on a guy like Jousset, who's a black belt in judo. He's going to hip toss you, no problem. They don't call him Air Jousset for no reason. So I think he's going to negate a lot of the takedowns coming from Micallef. I think he wins a decision here. I don't think he's finding a finish or anything like that. I think he probably wins a decision. I kind of agree with Weezy with the decision prop. Seems fair to me. Kate, what do you think?
You already won.
Yeah. You went? All right. Next fight. I'll do comments real quick. I always forget the comments. Prop thinks Jousset round 3 decision once it drops on DK. I don't hate that, honestly. I don't know what that's going to be lined at, though. I feel like it's going to be relatively close to even. Yeah, I kind of agree with Champ here. I don't really see where Micallef competes. Glimbot says Jousset by decision. He likes that. Going from Battle to Micallef is a big step down. Definitely. I think it's a huge step down. I think people don't realize how big of a step down that is, but they're going to find out on Saturday. Next fight we got is Cody Steele versus Rongzhu. Cody Steele is 7-0. He's 29, 5'9" with a 71-inch reach. He's making his debut coming off the Dana White Contender Series win. Rongzhu is 25-6, 24, 5'9", 72.5-inch reach. Line on these two gentlemen right now, you can get Cody Steele anywhere from minus 220 to minus 235. You can get Rongzhu anywhere from plus 185 to plus 200. Dravhy, I'm going to have you go first here. I feel like you feel pretty strongly about this fight. What do you think? Do you think Cody Steele is going to get Rongzhu going on the back foot and implement his wrestling like everyone's been talking about all week? Or do you think Rongzhu is going to stop those takedowns and make this fight his own?
Yeah, I don't agree with the line here. Still, he has a good BJJ background, good wrestler. Everybody loves him. He's a good fighter. Like, I think his ceiling is MMA is pretty good. Like, his striking is all right. He's durable, good cardio, push a pace. So, I mean, the guy has good attributes for MMA. The part where I disagree with most people is the wrestling and the grappling part, like you touch on a little bit. Is grappling and just wrestling in general has not translate to MMA yet, in my humble opinion. if you look into his tapes, even on Free FC against lower level guys, he doesn't get takedowns a lot in his fights, but more importantly, when he gets the takedown, he doesn't really hold people down, and he doesn't really have a submission threat. For a BJJ guy like to his level, he only has like one submission win in his MMA career. And like I said, again, he loves to strike. He doesn't really hold people down, and his actual wrestling is decent at best. It's not that good, guys. Let's just put it that way. Rongzhu, on the other hand, he has good takedown defense. He can scramble pretty well if he gets taken down. So the reasons why I disagree with the line is I don't give still much grappling upside. I don't think he's going to take Rongzhu down. I'm not sure. Like, even if he does take him down, I'm pretty confident he's not going to be able to hold him down. And I don't think he has the submission skills, the finishing submission skills to expose maybe Rongzhu grappling, which is not the best. So with that being said, if the fight plays out on the feed, there's just no way Cody Steele is minus 2xx. Even though he's a good striker, he get hit a lot. He doesn't really move his head. He does pressure guys. He's very like the way he box and everything. He does the right things, but like he doesn't move his head, and he get cracked in all of his fight that I watch on regional. He doesn't get hurt because his chin's very good, but also he's facing the best striker he's ever fought here, the biggest hitter he's ever fought in that fight as well. And when you're making your debut against a guy like Rongzhu, who has way more MMA experience than him, and he's younger than him, I don't get this line. And when you get hit pretty clean, he always needs to reset, and then you go back into the pocket. The problem with that is what happened if Rongzhu crack him pretty bad, like these other guys did, but with more power or just faster, because I expect Rongzhu to be the better striker here, faster, more powerful guy. And Cody still break guys with pressure, and he broke them because they can't keep up with his pace. Rongzhu cardio to me is very good, so I don't think he's gonna gas out here. And he has a very good chin. Like the elbow he hit against Chris Padilla, it's a knockout, but like the guy was looking pretty good in that fight, and he got caught with a bomb. Didn't go down. So I rate both of these guys' durability, but I think Rongzhu being the better striker in a fight that I see playing out on the feet for the most part, being the faster guy, the more experienced guy against Cody Steele, who's making his UFC debut. I think the line should be closer to a pick'em. So yeah, people are low on Rongzhu because of his last fight, but again, he was minus like 200 favorite. Now he's a big underdog. Cody Steele, people are high on him because of his Dana White Contender Series performance, but the fight Dana White Contender Series, he ended up looking good at the end, but it was very close. He got hit a lot, and now he's just facing a better guy. And also, Rongzhu's at CD Kickboxing now. At his age, we could see some improvement here with the leg kicks. Leg kicks look pretty good in his last fight, so moving down to CD Kickboxing could only help his game overall. So I'll take, but I think he get it done here as a big underdog.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have a unit on Rongzhu plus 205. This is the best competition Cody's faced yet by far. I think Rong, if you go back and watch his Haraguchi fight, he was able to get back up off of takedowns, and Haraguchi is, I'm not sure if he's an Olympic level or a Chinese state level wrestler, but whatever you want to call it, he's an elite wrestler. Sure, he's a smaller guy. He's not a true 155er, but either way, he's able to stop those takedowns, get back up. Cody's takedowns don't look that great. He's got a good BJJ pedigree. It's not there. He's only got one sub on his record, I believe. So I don't think it's really getting put into these fights. He's very hittable. I think at best, Cody could be the favorite, maybe 130 at best. So I think there's clear value on Rongzhu. 2-1, I'll take that any day of the week. I was on Rongzhu last fight versus Padilla. I was very happy with that bet until he got caught the elbow and his eye blew up. Shit happens. It's a fist fight, but I was still happy with that anyway. Weezy, what are you thinking for this one?
Yeah, it's a fight that I'm not going to have any money on because, first of all, it's hard to lay juice on a debutante, and it's even harder to lay juice on a debutante that has to make their debut in Australia. That's a brutal flight to make. You know, you're already going to have nerves. You're already going to have a potential adrenaline dump. Now you got to get out there like at least a week before. You're getting out of your comfort zone, training with the people that you normally train with. Go all the way to Australia, which is from anywhere in the United States, like at least an 18 to 20 hour flight. And then, you gotta be in unfamiliar circumstances in front of unfamiliar people in an unfamiliar place. And it's very difficult to make your debut under those circumstances. And Rongzhu, I've been really kind of been careful to take too much from tape from these road to UFC guys, because the level of competition that they're facing in that tournament is not even close to UFC level. And you see some of these guys coming into the UFC, even a Nakamura, who is considered to be an elite prospect, is going out there and losing all 3 rounds to Muin Gafarov, who's an Asian scene, Asian regional scene journeyman. So I don't think Rongzhu's very good. I know he's got a ton of experience. I know that he's got a 14-1 record to the KO. So the guy's got some legitimate power in his hands, some solid striking, and the amount of experience that he has at his tender young age is really absurd. I mean, like, the guy's got a lot of room for improvement and all that. But when I see guys like Cody Steele, I mean, this is the guy who has the confidence of an undefeated fighter. He doesn't look to point fight. He's going out there to just murder you. And, it's weird for a combat jiu-jitsu guy to go out there and march people down and try to kill them with his hands. But that's what he's doing. And I just see this kid just absolutely destroying Rongzhu here, just because I think that he's a lot more confident. I think he's going to be the better grappler in this matchup. And I don't think Rongzhu is going to be able to move forward here. I just think that this kid's going to be backing up constantly. And when you're getting pressured like that, it's very difficult. But there's no way I can just lay -210 on this kid making his debut in Australia against a much younger and much more experienced opponent who's fought the better brand of competition. So this feels like a really good stay away. I totally understand the Rongzhu underdog value angle, and it makes perfect sense because there's paths to victory for him here. But I'm backing Cody Steele just in terms of a pick, and I think he's going to get a finish here.
All right, let's get the USA chance going for Uncle Easy. He's taking the American here. Yeah. Key, what do you think here? Are you back in the Chinaman, or are you back in USA?
Yeah, I put out wrong is my free bet of the week. Yeah, this is a pretty clear spot for me. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I just nuts on the table, like I'm just the most confident in the world. But I am very, very confident that Cody Steele is not going to look like this wide of a favorite outside of just a flash knockout. And the guy does throw hard. I think that he's a great athlete. He just happened to be somebody that went into BJJ before he got into fighting, because it seems like he's a real fighter at heart. But his wrestling and offensive grappling has not translated to MMA well at all. You would think with that BJJ pedigree that he would come in really looking to dominate on the ground, and he just doesn't. And he arguably lost that fight versus Sam Kilmer, I believe it was, on Fury FC. And that was a lot of grappling involved, for what it's worth. But I think that Rongzhu here, one, I'm not very confident that Rongzhu is 24 years old, actually. But that's besides the point. I think the move to CKB,
16, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think the move to CKB is a good one for him. The Padilla fight, I think, was a weird fight because Padilla was setting up real angles. I think that Padilla did a great job of walking Rongzhu into some shots. His jab was absolutely money. Cody Steele, I'm not sure, knows what a jab is unless his coach calls it out on pads. It's big time meaty hooks in the pocket, and he just wants to bang. He loves to fight, and it shows in his style, but I think that's about time that he ends up paying for a lot of these mistakes. Chin is up in the air while he's in the pocket. He's not really looking. There are a couple of times he ripped to the body, but it's not like him ripping to the body is something that's consistent. I think that Rongzhu is going to be able to get on the calf kick pretty early. I expect for him to have some good measured pressure early on. But as the fight goes on, I think that he's going to start to just walk down Cody Steele. Cody Steele, like Dravhy mentioned, constantly needing to reset. You can even hear John Wood call it out sometimes. Cody gets way too over into the fight. And just wants to bang in the pocket. And so I think that Rongzhu is going to be able to take advantage of that. I think that he could find the chin. I wouldn't be surprised if he drops him or KOs him here. As for the wrestling and the grappling, I don't think that Cody has much grappling upside here. And if anything, I would like to see him try to wrestle in rounds 1 and 2 because I think that can zap some of his gas tank and give Rongzhu some finish upside round 3. So I think this is a Rongzhu spot. I'm glad to be wrong in this spot. But I really don't think that Cody's going to be able to justify it. And in interviews, I was watching an interview with MMA Junkie. He was sick in that interview talking about he was getting over a bad sickness. He sounded like shit. And then mix in that flight that Uncle Weezy was talking about to Australia from Vegas. That is absolute hell. So odds are, in terms of like all of that, is completely stacked against him. Rongzhu's right in the backyard there. So I think that Rongzhu is going to finally perform to his capabilities in the UFC. I know he's been dropping the ball, but I think that this is a fight where he starts to right his wrongs. No pun intended.
Yeah. All right. So I think we all pretty much agree. Rongzhu is the way to go here for the BTL boys, at least. Props on Rongzhu. Glimbot, Rongzhu decision. Champ, unfortunately, on Cody Steele. I guess he thinks it's by spot Rongzhu.
He's going to get knocked out in the UFC eventually. That's going to happen.
And the guy just doesn't have process, yo. Like, he doesn't have process on the feet. Like, there is no – I don't think he's coming in with real game plans. He's going to fight everybody the same way. Like, he's got to pay for this eventually. And
He'll learn eventually. That's the thing.
It's coming sometime soon. And I think Rong has all the capabilities to do it.
Yeah. Everyone seems like a lot of value chasing on dogs. Rongzhu is ass. You'll find out Saturday night.
Yeah, people said the same thing about MVP last week, right? Didn't they?
Yeah, he's old. Yep, everything like that. Char looked like he was lost. All right. Dixon to Chinese New Year. Yep, where you're right. City Kickboxing, Glenn. They say, you guys, I would never sell our show to China. You know that. It means them, China or France. Never going to sell to either of those. They couldn't pay me enough. Wheezy with the Americans, of course. 5 underdogs cashed in the last 3 cards. Do you think that will happen again? Each of the last 3 cards. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the dog's gonna be barking this card. We'll see.
Yeah, I think these cards are very, very well. Key, have you ever seen the movie Rush Hour before? Or are you too young for that?
Yeah, I've seen Rush Hour.
Okay, so that you'll get that one then. That's perfect. I honestly am surprised you've seen Rush Hour. I really am. You're a young man. Usually you haven't seen the good. What movie were we talking about last podcast that you didn't see that was like a classic? Was it Superbad?
No, it was fuck. It wasn't Nosferatu. It was something else. I forget though.
Okay, was this a black dude had Peterson last week? Paid him on everything.
Oh god,
I was on Peterson. That was
good. Why did I catch a stray?
Yeah. All right. Okay. I guess Lucrative is on Zoo as well. I guess we just gave out Lucrative's pick for free by accident. Hammer Steele, Rongzhu, Slickness money line. What could go wrong? Hammer Steele sub. Me, JB Wheezy on Steele. Okay. Right. Like you said, that guy's just saying no way he'll bet him minus 300. This guy, in hindsight, you're capping. All right, let's just move on here. This is the comment section is
comments go crazy tonight.
Yeah, I love that. Honestly, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. We're happy to have you here. We do this for free every week. We give our breakdowns. We got all the links below. Just subscribe to the channel. Drop us likes. It's your way of paying us back, and we're happy to pay you guys in the best way we can with winning bets. Next fight, Alexandre Topuria, Ilya Topuria's brother, versus Colby Thicknesse. Either way, Topuria 5-1, 28, 5-7, reach unavailable. Colby Thicknesse 7-0, 25, 5-9, 70-inch reach. Lines on these two gentlemen. We watched Topuria go from an underdog against Cody Haddon, which I was going to be on Cody Haddon big there, to now he's a big favorite against Colby Thicknesse. Little narrative here. Colby's going to have Volk in his corner. Topuria is obviously going to have Ilya in his corner. It's like kind of like a little Ultimate Fighter type thing going on for one fight. Thicknesse plus 300. Topuria minus 370 to minus 400. Wheezy, we're going to have you go first here. We know he's not as good as his brother is. We've seen him beat up cans in the past on his cards. Like, he's not Ilya. It's going to be like Muhammad Usman and Kamaru Usman. That's going to be the relationship here, I think. What do you think, Uncle Wheezy?
Yeah, as gamblers who, like all of us, we've been doing this for a minute now. We watch all these fights every damn week. Like, how do you not get to a Colby Thickness bet here?
I agree.
There's not even really evidence that this guy, Alexander Topuria, actually exists and has been in a cage and fought. I saw him beat some candy ass up with a 1-11 record, and that fight happened like 3 years ago in a promotion I've never heard of. Before that, he beat a guy that now has a 7-29 record and who's on a 19 fight losing streak. That's one of his last 3 wins, and then the other one is against this little muscle shark guy that's like 4'11". And Topuria loses all the striking exchanges, then gets a takedown and finishes this guy. So, first of all, I want to be very clear about this. Outside of gimmick fighters, like guys like Mike Jackson, guys like CM Punk, guys like James Toney, I've never seen anybody come into the UFC with this bad of a resume ever. He has 3 fights in the last 9 years. There's less than 6 minutes of tape on this guy in the last 9 years. He's never even fought in a promotion that anybody's ever heard of. One's called WOW. One's called War. And another one was called like HTH or something like that. I don't even know, dude. Like, this guy, and they're making him a minus 400 favorite. There's no tape on him. We got to take somebody's word for it that he's a good fighter. And let me tell you something. You know how somebody's a good fighter? You watch them fight. You don't listen to your buddies tell you that, I think this guy's going to be good. Like, if you're going to go bet on somebody, you better have you have some kind of a reason, some kind of video evidence to suggest that this dude can fight at this level. And I'm not talking about beating some candy ass with a 1-12 record who tapped out to strikes 30 seconds into the fight. I mean, and you can't find a real fight. Like, nobody's willing to fight this guy. Like, I don't even think Cody Haddon got hurt. I think they realized, like, what the fuck did we just do? Cody Haddon's a real fighter. He's going to absolutely mop the fucking floor with this fraud. And he's a fraud. He could prove me wrong. Go ahead. Prove me wrong, but this is the first time you've ever stepped into the cage with somebody with a pulse. Yeah. And like, the only time we saw this guy leave the first round, he died. Now, it was 9 years ago. He was 19 years old. He was up a couple weight classes. It doesn't even mean anything. But to me, I mean, I'm betting Thickness and over 1.5 rounds to win this fight. I've got him winning by 3rd round. If Topuria shows me something out there, at least I'll have some video evidence to suggest that he's a good fighter at this level. But there's no evidence to suggest that. And without the evidence, I've seen Thickness fight. I've seen him fight guys with pulses. He's got a belt over his shoulder. He's fought for the championship of a legitimate organization in Australia. So I'm a little bit pissed off that this kid is even in the UFC. Why not make him take at least 1 or 2 real fights if he's a legit fighter? Why?
Yeah.
Why can't this guy do better than these clowns that he's fought over the last 9 years? Only 3 fights, a 1.5 year layoff. He's not willing to fight real fighters until he's in the UFC. Well, I'm fading him.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I would be on Colby too. I haven't bet it yet. I'll probably take a dog shot later on. I just want to see if money comes in on Topuria. Like you said, fought a bunch of cans, hasn't really proven anything. He's only here because his brother is the champion at 145. That's the real reason they signed him. Took forever to take a fight also. Colby, on the other hand, like we said, I was going to bet Haddon. Haddon was going to look free on that fight. I think it was going to be a great bet. I think he was, minus 170, something around there. But obviously now we got Thicknesse plus 400. I mean, put half a unit to win 2 units on that, just at a chance that it makes it out of the first, second round. The longer the fight goes, the more it favors Thicknesse. Grappling upside, dogging him, everything like that. That's what Thicknesse is. Chin, little nervous at times, but outside of that, I don't know, man. Young kid who's got a dog in him against a star's brother. It speaks upset to me. What are you thinking, Dravy?
I actually think Topuria could be the goods, but we don't really know yet. It's more like if you like him here, and I was thinking, I mean, I actually bet him against Adden. I got the top price plus 280 underdog, but the line go back and forth in that fight. So I was willing to take a shot plus 280 because I was betting on the upside of the guy based on what I've seen on Instagram, based on what I've heard in interviews. And that's the type of chances you can take at plus 280 dogs odds. You can take those at minus 400, that's for sure. So the fight is just a pass all around to me. I can get to a Colby bet personally just because of how hittable he is on regional, how bad he gets cracked in round 1. There's a fight I've watched, like he almost got deaded 2 times in the first round. He came back to his credit. He seems to have that dog in him, like you guys mentioned. He has good cardio, but he's not really good anywhere. And I feel like Topuria is going to be much stronger than him. He's going to hit harder than him, and he's going to, if he doesn't knock him out in the first round, he's going to hurt him. So I feel like Thicknesse is probably a better live bet than a pre-fight bet, because if he survived the first round, he's probably going to lose the first round, and he's probably going to be like double the price that what he is right now. And you're avoiding a Topuria round 1 finish, which is probably like how he wins and covers his price. But yeah, the fight that he lost was like 10 years ago. He fought a guy that was like, I think he was like, I don't remember the weight class, but he was very in the guy was way bigger than him, and he was like, he looks to be on all the steroid, and he cheat his ass off. I actually watched that fight. He was grabbing the fence, doing all that thing, and like again, it was 10 years ago, so we can't put too much stock into it. But we have guys like Merab and Ilya, his brother, telling that this guy's the goods. But the UFC debut here, just wait and see, take notes, see what this guy's made of. But yeah, that's, I wouldn't say this is a real test here, because they only signed Kobe Thicknesse for 1 fight deal on short notice to take to Ilya Topuria brother. So it's kind of, the UFC are trying to get this guy a win. It doesn't always work out well, but yeah, we'll see what happened here. I'm kind of happy in a way that the Cody Adden fight is not happening, because I'm super high on Adden, and I feel like they could build both guys, and maybe they fight in the future. So we'll see. But yeah, I think Topuria is going to give him. I think he's going to finish him in the first round, but I'm not willing to pay the price.
Key, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a pass fight for me. I don't think that Thicknesse is very good, but he's going to wrestle. He's going to fight hard. We know that he's definitely going to come in with a good game plan. Topuria here, we just like the rest of the panel said, we don't know. But I can assume and guess that little bro is always better than big bro in most sports in general. But I don't imagine Alexandre being the goods. I think that he probably ends up being a front runner. I think that he gets this done. I think that this is the correct matchup that he should have gotten from the jump. Like Dravs said, I'm glad that Adden did not get this fight. I want to see what Alexandre is first, and we'll go from there. But I think that Alexandre probably gets it done early. Colby's super hittable. Is a nothing burger on the feet. I think his upside lies mostly in round 3. Props there, round 3 decision could be cool, but really no need. I think money line if you really want to take a dog shot, but I'm not parlaying Topuria. This will just be a pass and watch fight for me.
Yep, Colby's picture is depressing. Thicknesse looks like yep. All right, Bryce Mitchell comment. Topuria is sleeping. The Redditor. Topuria decision from Glimbot. Topuria KO, pretty straightforward. Prop likes the over. Not enough tape on. I kind of agree. I think the fight does go longer than people expect. Yeah, live to win. I don't hate a live bet idea either. Fraud vibes. Thicknesse isn't much better. Yeah, it's going to be kind of ugly. Tomato cans, and then this is just Zach and everyone talking about that. 135 division goes the distance for most men. Why your friends Vinicius Salvador? Weezy, he's asking if your
his resume was absolutely worse than. I mean, I'm just talking about his resume. I'm not talking about how good he is, actually in the cage. We're gonna find that out. What I'm saying is the worst resume I've ever seen. You will never, ever, ever, ever see somebody signed to the UFC with that dismal of a resume in completely unheard of organizations. He's not a short notice opponent. He's not a guy that got signed on 7 days notice. He's got a last name that's being respected here without there any evidence to actually respect it from in the cage tape that we can see with our eyes.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll see. Next fight, Key, you're going to be going first here. I want to call it a low-level girls fight, but I don't know how low-level it is anymore. Kong Wang versus Bruno Brasil. Kong Wang, 6-1, 32, 5'6", 66.5-inch reach. Bruno Brasil, 10-4-1, 31, 5'6", 65.5-inch reach. Bruno Brasil, fight nerds. Kong Wang just got quote-unquote fraud checked last fight against Fernandez, who was one of our spreads that we picked for our spread pick of the week. Line on these two ladies, you can get Kong Wang anywhere from, where's her line? minus 380 to minus 450. You get Bruno Brasil anywhere from plus 370 to plus 275. Break it down for us, Key. I mean, this has got to be this is like almost like when we watched the Contender Series fight with her, when we were like, yo, minus 50 on the KO prop. It's going to hit generational wealth. Minus 100 on the KO prop, generational wealth. Kind of feels like the same spot here. I mean, I don't think Bruno Brasil is going to wrestle. So they're going to try and kickbox. And I think Kong Wang is going to have 2 straight-up punches and knock her out. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a pretty clear spot. I think Kong Wang is good till minus fucking 10,000 here. Bruno Brasil is not good in my opinion. I know that she beat Molly McCann out, but Molly had an injury in round 1, which is, I get it. Shit happens in a fight, so I'm not going to sit here and act like that's the only reason. But Molly also fought like a jackass the whole fight due to those injuries, apparently, from what she says. And that was Bruno Brasil's best UFC and honestly best performance, period. I'm not holding wins versus Shauna Bannon and Marnik Mann in any good light at all. And honestly, Bruna's cardio is super suspect, and that's continued to go under the radar. But her cardio is super suspect. She's going up in weight here, which hasn't been talked about enough this week by other people. She's going up in weight. The physicality is just different from Kong Wang. I know that Kong Wang got caught last time out, but she was cooking before that. And people tend to forget that. And I get it. Big favorite loses. Everybody automatically thinks, oh, instant fraud check. I don't believe that was a fraud check. I think that she got caught by one of the most physically gifted women in the whole division. And shit happens. And Kong was irresponsible defensively and paid for it. And sadly, that's one of the only women in the whole UFC in this division that could make her pay for it. Bruna's low volume. That if you have done your tapes, you'll hear Dominic Cruz on tape talking about if her mean face was a jab, then she'd be winning every single fight. Because she's just going to stare and bounce around for a little bit, maybe throw a kick. She does have a couple nice trips for takedowns, but I don't see her having any wrestling success here. I don't believe off of all the tape, including regionals that I've watched of Kong Wang, I don't believe that she's been taken down ever in her MMA career. Super good hips, it seems like she's insanely physical in the clinch and does a lot of good work there. I don't see any route or any path to victory here for Bruno Brasil. Kong Wang should get this done. I wouldn't be surprised if she finishes her. And honestly, I think that Kong Wang should be a top 15 girl. And I know that might seem bold after her just getting caught. But she has all the traits, all the tools to be that. Bruno Brasil going up in weight here, I'm not sure who's advising that because she was getting like physically dominated by Loma Lubumi, who is damn near an atom weight.
Wow. Pegasus experience you just had right there.
So yeah, I did. I had a peg moment, my fault. But nah, so she's getting out physical by Loma. Denise Gomes, we know what she did to her, just made her look like a little girl. So this doesn't make sense to me. This is an obvious Kong Wang get back spot. I'm glad that she's getting back here. And I think that she has still a very bright future. And I know she's 32, but I don't think that her style is going to age badly or anything. She's super quick. Bruna Brasil has nothing for her here. Kong Wang all the way. If anybody remembers, I had my max bet on Kong versus Victoria Leonardo. So she holds a special place in my heart. So I'm Team Kong. I think that she puts her Wang all over Bruna Brasil here.
Love it. Yeah, I agree. Kong Wang by KO. Kong Wang inside the distance. KO is probably the only way I don't see her subbing Bruna Brasil. Wheezy, what are you thinking?
I got Kong by decision here.
Okay.
I think Bruna's going to probably clinch up and try to grapple here, and if she does that persistently, I think this goes the full 15 minutes. But I'm going to be interested to see how Brasil looks up at 125 pounds because she's so skinny, like she's got an ass like a breadboard. And I feel like if she puts on like 10 pounds, because she could cut a little bit less weight, put on some weight and muscle. And if she could find a little power, sit down on her punches a little bit more, maybe she'd be a little bit more dangerous. But obviously she's not really able to do that at 115. Maybe we'll see a little bit more at 125. But I don't like the fact that she's moving up in weight here because I feel like she has to grapple to have success because she's just not on the level of Kong Wang. And then when you look at the stats for this one, in terms of output for these two ladies, Bruna Brasil is attempting 6.5 distance strike attempts per minute. That means she's throwing a punch or a kick like once every 9 seconds. That's not good enough. Kong Wang is attempting 14.7 per minute. She lands 6 per minute. And she only absorbs 2. So for every significant strike Kong Wang lands at distance, her opponents are only landing 1/3. So she's just winning minutes. She's going to be the harder hitter at range. And she's shown a little bit of anti-grappling, but didn't like what I saw once she got hurt by Gabriella. It was just over. And that could be a problem, if she does get put into a dominant position on the mat. Maybe Brasil could find a submission or some ground and pound that could win her around here. But I think it's going to be kind of a greasy fight. I think Bruna being over at Fighting Nerds, they're going to give her the right game plan here. And the right game plan, it's not going to be to stand in front of Kong Wang and strike with her. So I think we're going to see Wang's grappling defense tested a little bit here, and this fight could get a little bit greasy. But I'm picking Kong to win a damage-based decision here.
Dravhy, what are you thinking? Close us out.
Yeah, I'll agree with you guys. I thought maybe the Brazil line was a bit wide on first look. When she was like, "What is this? What it is now?" Yeah, I think it was plus 400 at some point, right? Pretty sure it got. Yeah, I think it was around these lines. But yeah, I'm not gonna take the shot. I think Wang's just a better fighter all around. I think she got caught in her last fight. Shit happened. She got cocky and she paid for it. But yeah, Brazil's not really the one to make her pay for that, moving up a weight class here. Just think Wang's the way more dangerous fighter. Brazil has shown chin issues in the past. And yeah, maybe Wang confidence is not there, so I'm not willing to pay the price. But after getting finished like that in her last fight, and it was recent still, so yeah, I was hoping that maybe people will be low on her after Brazil's last performance against Mali, Fighting Nerds, etc., and we could potentially get a good price on Wang, but it's not the case. So I feel like the line is close to accurate on this one. Don't really see Brazil win outside of a close decision, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we're looking at it. Hard for me to bet against the Fighting Nerds. I mean, look at Myra Bonasilva last week.
Yeah, and Brazil's been with the Fighting Nerds since literally fucking forever. Like,
she was one of the original people there.
Yeah, like she's the men's side of Fighting Nerds is doing completely fine, but let's not act like Bruna Brasil is gonna like magically turn into fucking Shevchenko overnight.
Yeah, W breakdown, Weezy. Zach's happy with your breakdown finally. Next fight we have here is Vyacheslav Borshchev versus Tom Nolan. Tom Nolan, 8-1, 24, 6'3", 73-inch reach. Vyacheslav Borshchev, Slavaklaus, 8-4-1, 33, 5'11", 69-inch reach. Odds in these two gentlemen, you get Slavaklaus. It's a pick 'em. It's a straight pick 'em now. You get some plus 110, plus 105 on Tom Nolan on some books, but at this point, it's a straight pick 'em. Drav, I'm going to have you go first. I mean, we've seen Tom Nolan go to a decision against Alex Reyes where he's supposed to knock that guy out. Slavaklaus obviously got knocked out by Chase Hooper. It's what people are thinking about. So it's not really right now. It's kind of like this pinnacle in the road where we have a striking coach and an elite striker in Borshchev versus a quote unquote knockout artist, young guy in Tom Nolan. Is Vyacheslav's chin gone? Is he going to get knocked out? Or is this just the perfect fight for Vyacheslav and he's going to knock out Tom Nolan? Fight to end by KO. I was going to bet that on this fight, and it's minus 250, so I will not be betting it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't have a strong read on this one. I know a lot of sharp guys that I respect on both sides, and I can understand why you can make a case on both guys here. Both of their chin are not good. They got dropped and hurt a lot in the recent fight, but Tom Nolan is 24 years old and he's much bigger than Borshchev, who's 33. And, I feel like they could both get knocked out in that fight. But I think Borshchev is more of a dog. Shout out to the Nazim Sadikov fight. It was such a banger in that one. But yeah, getting dropped by Chase Hooper is just not a great look. I know it was because he was worried about the takedowns, but still. And Tom Nolan, I mean, he got dropped by that bum. I don't remember his name, but
Victor Martinez. Victor Martinez, 5'2". Victor Martinez.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, he's about to shit the bag here. But yeah, I mean, Nick Moda knocking him out. I'm not like it could happen. That's how Mota's gonna win most of his fight. He has big power. But yeah, Borshchev here is a much better striker. Obviously, he's more technical. But yeah, sometimes a bigger, younger guy that can match your power can crack you if you don't have a great chin. So I lean the under, if anything. Under 1.5 is around to pick him. I feel like more often than not, someone's going to get put out here. But I lean Borshchev to win, but I'm not confident whatsoever on his side. In the lines, I pick him, so not looking to get invested in that.
Yeah, I'm going to take Vyacheslav Borshchev as well. I was originally thinking Nolan, but I don't know. It just seems like one of those fights where Nolan's kind of been on the downturn. Honestly, they kind of gave him a setup fight last fight. We should have knocked out Reyes pretty easily. We didn't see the killer instinct there. And now you're getting Vyacheslav Borshchev against a guy who's not going to wrestle and getting a kickboxing match. Seems like a dream fight for Borshchev. Look for him to attack the body. Yeah, Borshchev money line for me. Key, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's a shame that Slava isn't like super durable because offensively he has some of the cleanest combinations in this division. I mean, some of the shots that he was slipping and shooting versus Sadikov was just, genuinely just beautiful shit. And I was impressed looking back on film. I was impressed with his left leg. The high kicks that he was throwing, constantly broke the guard a couple times with guys. Just true elite shit. Offensively, he's just a beauty to watch. But he gets caught up in chaotic scenarios and situations where it's just the random left hand or the random overhand right. They'll just catch him and then get some wobbling. But technically in the pocket and at range, Slava is the superior fighter. But Nolan brings chaos. He's going to throw hard and he fights. So he just fights really, really hard. I don't know. Nolan is showing to be a little bit better defensively, but again, that's against Alex Reyes. So you just don't know here. He's going to be the longer guy. I assume he's going to get that front kick going. I assume he's going to try to use those kicks early. I really don't know. I wanted to have a Slava bet, and if line keeps going down, I might end up on that side. But at the time that I was taping at minus 130, did not feel too great for me. And I've been on the Slava experience before versus Chase Hooper, and sadly, we know what happened there. So maybe a little bit of PTSD on my end, but this is an exciting fight that I think low-key, with the main card that they have, I would put this on the main card and let these boys just bang it out. Pause. Yeah, that's a crazy pause. Pass.
Yep. Wheezy. Close it out here.
Yeah, it's an absolute travesty that this fight is not on the main card and Jake Matthews versus Prado is. That's disgusting because these guys are going to absolutely throw down. This is a really fun fight. I think if this fight was happening in Vegas, I'd be on Borshchev at this line and probably bigly. But he's flying to Australia, to fight a local in front of a very unfriendly crowd. He's 8 years older. Tom Nolan's got a 4-inch height advantage. He's got a 4-inch reach advantage. Kid's got a ton of power, great step in knees. He's an awkward dude to deal with. And I think if Tom Nolan gets Borshchev down, he could potentially submit him just because, guys that have that kind of length are very difficult to deal with on the mat. They can find like Darce chokes from anywhere. There's short guys that are Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts that wish they could get a Darce choke. They'd never be able to get one. Nolan could get him in his sleep just because of his frame. So if Tom Nolan had shown some more offensive grappling here, I think I could get to backing him because Slava is somebody who's lost so many minutes in the grappling exchanges of his fights. He's an elite striker, but he's only spending 58% of his UFC octagon time at distance striking range. But I think with a guy like Nolan, who spends about 72% of the time there, that this is probably going to be a striking match. And Borshchev's way better. He's just way better than Tom Nolan on the feet. First of all, both of these guys can get cracked, but one of these guys has got a heart as big as a truck, and it's fucking Borshchev. I mean, like, even when he was getting choked out by Chase Hooper and was getting 9 shades of shit beaten out of him, he was yelling at the ref that he didn't tap, and he didn't tap. And he probably thought that he still had a chance to win that fight, even though he was getting killed. So I rate Borshchev's durability is better. I think that he's way better defensively at distance striking range. And the way I see this one playing out is Borshchev just hitting this dude to the body, folding him like a lawn chair, and I think it's going to be over. So I'm looking for a second round KO from Borshchev here. I think he's going to win this fight.
Okay, we're all on Borshchev. I love it. Yep, OnlyFans fade. Hold up. Chase Hooper's got a hose. When did this become a thing? I did not know that. Slava KO. Slava wins here. Seems like Slava's pretty popular. Yep, bad look. Walk off right hook. Australian James Vick. That is a wild comparison for Tom Nolan. That is a wild one. Yep, I would love to see a Slava Claus dance. Yeah, I don't think Tom Nolan's taking down Slava Claus. That would be outrageous. All right, prelim main event. Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. Jack Jenkins, 13-3, 31-5-7, 68-inch reach. Gabriel Santos, 11-2, 28-5-9, 70-inch reach. Odds in these two gentlemen, you can get Jack Jenkins anywhere from plus 190 to plus 200. You get Santos anywhere from minus 225 to minus 260. All right, Uncle Weezy, we're going to start with you first here. I mean, I'm not sure if there's anyone like Gabriel Santos who got their debut against Lerone Murphy, brought him to a split decision, then got David Onama, was winning the fight, and then got hit by the knockout. I was on Onama there when he had big odds. Then he just beat Yiza. I was also on Yiza that fight. Now he's getting a hometown guy in Jack Jenkins. I think this is a pretty clean Gabriel Santos spot. I think he's going to be able to get the takedowns. I think he's going to look good on the feet. I think the only things I worry about is his leg kicks. What do you think?
I really like Jack Jenkins' process. I really like the way he goes about winning minutes in the cage because he's an undersized featherweight. He's only 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. But to make up for that, when you're a short fighter, you got to pressure your opponents because that's the only way you're going to be able to get into range. You can't let taller opponents dictate range. And Jack Jenkins never lets people do that. He does march you down. He finds his range with the leg kick, which slows down his opponents as well. And he gets him backed up to the cage. And once he gets in that pocket, dude, the kid can slip and rip, man. He's got power. He's always throwing in combination. He digs to the body. He's got great hooks, and he's got great head movement in that pocket. 65.3% distance striking defense is very good. Now, Santos is just kind of a wild man on the feet, and he mixes in his wrestling a lot, but he doesn't have great control time once he gets people down. I think Jenkins' takedown defense is good enough to keep this fight standing for the majority of the time. I think the pressure is going to wear on Santos, and I think Jack's going to win the second and third rounds of this fight. I think he's going to beat up Santos's leg, and I think he's going to win a close decision in front of the hometown crowd. Don't forget, Santos making a long trip here from Brazil to Australia in front of an unfriendly crowd. They're going to be cheering every time Jenkins lands a kick. And Gabriel Santos, in the fights where he's gotten some takedowns, he's not doing a lot with it. So that it's just a change of position, on the scorecard. So while I rate Santos as the better grappler, and while I have Santos as being the guy who has fought the better UFC strength of schedule, and I think Santos is very good everywhere, I think Jack Jenkins has the better minute-winning process, the better striking, and I think his takedown defense and get-up game are good enough to keep this fight standing long enough to win a close decision here.
Okay. Key, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I like Uncle Weezy's read there. I think the Santos is just going to be the more active guy. The leg kicks will be something to monitor. It'll be interesting to see what Santos has for that. But as we know, all grappling goes to Santos. But I mean, some of these, I saw some early Jack Jenkins by decision numbers that were pretty good. I wasn't able to snag any myself, but shout out to anybody who did. That's a great bet. I think that's a lot of his upside. Like Uncle Weezy said, you have to imagine that the Aussie crowd is going to get behind him. Those leg kicks are just going to mean that much more. So this is an interesting, good fight. I think that this line is probably a little wide, but I understand it because Jack Jenkins doesn't have a ton of finishing upside at all. So this will be interesting to see. This is sort of honestly a put up or shut up fight for Jack Jenkins, 31 years old. You got to make that climb eventually, coming off of that injury. And then now getting a win after that, I think it's time to see what he's really about. If he can get this done here, then we have a real player in this division that's ready to make some noise. So this will be pretty interesting. This is a pass and watch fight for me, though.
Drav, close it out with this one.
Yeah, I'll disagree with the panel on this one. Santos is my guy since his UFC debut, and I have a very good read on the guy. I bet him against Levan Murphy. He won that fight, to be honest. Like, he really did. And taking Levan Murphy in UFC debut, Levan Murphy is a real top 5 guy now. We know how good he is, so very impressive in that fight. And then, I mean, he was beating Dravhy till he got caught. And I know he was not really able to control these guys for a long period of time, but Murphy and Onamo are very strong and very hard to hold down. On the other hand, I don't really rate Jenkins grappling. I think his takedown defense is okay, but the mistakes he makes on the ground, I think a guy like Santos, who's a very, very good grappler, he can make him pay for that. And if Santos get on top, I feel like he could submit him. And on the feet, I also believe that Santos is the better fighter. Yes, I'm a bit worried about Jenkins' leg kicks, but that's about it. And I've seen Santos switch stances. He doesn't really look to be he looks to be checking the leg kicks or switching stances. So yeah, I don't think Jenkins gonna like beat his leg that bad. And if Santos doesn't like the way it's going on the feet, he's just gonna be able to take him down. I feel like he can decide where the fight take place. And I give him all the finishing upside. So like if he could knock out Jenkins, he could submit Jenkins. But I don't think Jenkins has finishing upside here. I do agree with you guys that his pat is a close decision. And he's fighting at home, so it could be there. But I think the advantage that Santos has on the mat is huge. And yeah, I just feel like he could dominate in the grappling. And on the feet, I still think he's better. So basically, I think he's better everywhere. I give him all the finishing upside. And he's the younger guy by a couple years in that fight. So I think he's going to win, probably by finish. But if they go the distance, it could be a bit sweaty, but I still think he's the one getting his end raise, even though fighting in Jack Jenkins' backyard. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree, Drav. He said the panel. When I broke down originally, I think Santos wins. Not as confident as you are, for sure, but I think margins are very slim on both sides, depending on who win this fight. I don't really see Jack Jenkins getting finished. I don't see Jack Jenkins finishing Santos. I think this being a pretty close fight, especially with the Aussie judges, like we talked about with the crowd, everything like that. The leg kicks are going to be there for Jack Jenkins. I think he makes this fight interesting. Spread on him is -125. That was one of the fights I have circled for my spread of the week. I don't hate it. I'm going to wait and see where it opens up on other books, but I was thinking about it. I think this could easily be a 29-28 fight if it goes to this judges' scorecards either way, and that covers +3.5. All right, let's move on. We got we'll do 1 second here. Glenbot 2-3, tough fight to pick. This comment's hysterical because I almost thought the same thing at one point when I was looking at Rongzhu. I was like, didn't I just bet this guy last fight? And then I was like, no, I bet Yiza. But that's funny. He's riding with Champ's riding with Jack Jenkins. Loves leg kicks. Jack smart kid. Split and Jack split. That's interesting take. Jenkins' decision seems like a pretty popular prop that I've seen a lot of people talk about. Long trip narrative, bro, is definitely a thing.
Oh, dude.
I don't think you understand how bad those flights are.
If you've ever flown on a plane for 12 hours, you get off that plane, you feel sick, and then you got to go run 2 miles and then do pads twice that day. You don't even give your body time to heal, and you get even sicker. You got to, most people don't want to take that day off after the flight like you're supposed to. Most athletes try not to, and it just wrecks them for the week. So, trust me, go on a plane for 12 hours, and then you decide.
And it's not even 12 hours. We're talking Australia here. We're talking, if you're coming from Brazil or if you're coming from the States, you're talking 20 hours. If you're going to Perth, you're talking 24. You're on a plane. You got these mouth breathers at the TSA putting their germs all over your luggage. You're sitting next to all these tuberculoids on the plane that are getting you sick. You're breathing recycled air. You're supposed to be cutting weight on the plane. Then you get off the plane. Now you're sick because you're sitting next to tuberculoids. You got to fight. It's not like you're on vacation. Some people have taken long trips. They're like, oh, it's not so bad. Bitch, you're on vacation. This dude's got to get in a cage and fight a grown man. So you got to be the best version of yourself when you set foot in that cage. And you can't do that with a 20-hour flight trying to cut weight on a plane. The planes are some of the most uncomfortable places that you could ever be in your life.
Literally. Tough, especially for a guy like Key. Key's 6'7", him trying to sit on a plane. Oh, so it's like drop fits right in. Drop can fully extend and lay out and sleep in the plane chair. But that being said, Jack Black, you just got promoted to black belt. That's good to know. Champ's predicting Jack Jenkins leg break. That'd be some interesting shit to see. Jack +200, but Tapology votes 75%. I kind of don't really like the sound of that. Yeah, flying out early, total pain. Yeah, I mean, people flying out are everyone. I think everyone was there pretty early. I didn't see anyone really just flying in late. So I don't know. This guy says it's just a flight, man. Someday you'll make enough money to understand how long that flight is, and you'll get there. But until then, I wouldn't sweat it. All right, let's move on to our main card. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, please. That's the best way to support us. We love making you guys money every week. Best way to support us, comment, liking, subscribing. It's all we ask. It's not a big ask. Obviously, check out Weezy's channel. He does live shows too. But we'll do this all again together at the end. First fight on the main card, Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. Franny Prado. Jake Matthews, 20-7, 30 years old, 5'11", 73-inch reach. Been fighting in the UFC for 11 years now. Francisco Prado, 12-2, 22, 5'10", 69.5-inch reach. Line on these two gentlemen, movement just came in. You can get Prado anywhere from +210 to +190. You can get Jake Matthews anywhere from -250 to -235. I'll take this one first just because I got a bet on this one. I actually took Francisco Prado +185. Can't really count on Jake Matthews to grapple anymore. We've seen that. We just watched Semmelsberger knock Jake Matthews around like a pinball machine. We know where his head's at this point with Jake Matthews. We obviously knocked out or looked good against Fialho on the feet, but Guy like Prado, he's got a granite chin. Jake Matthews ain't knocking him out. He's been doing BJJ tournaments lately, so he's been working on that jiu-jitsu on the ground. So I don't think Jake's really going to sub him. When it comes to striking and pressure, Prado doesn't take a step back. He's going to pressure Jake. He's going to get in his face. I think he's going to make it look bad. Jake wants to be a striker now when he grew up being a submission artist. And we haven't seen him get a takedown since I think 2021, I think it was, or 2020, something like that. So, I mean, Prado just moved to AT&T. He's moving up in weight. People usually talk about that like, oh, it's a bad thing that he's moving. People don't like the whole move up in weight theory, but Prado's a big dude. I saw some interview where they're talking about his weight. It's crazy that he's even making 155. I think in his cardio, people always said Prado slowed in round 3. I think that's only better for his cardio in round 3. I think Prado's not going to step back for a second. I think he's going to put it on Jake Matthews. I think he wins here. I think the fight should be closer to a pick-em. Uncle Weezy, what do you think?
Yeah, this is the one fight that I haven't written up or taped yet. It's the last one I'm going to do, but I haven't been impressed with Prado so far, and him moving up and flying to Australia for this one. Long flights suck. So, I don't like that for Prado. And the last time he flew to Australia, he should have just stayed home, because that performance against Jamie Malarkey is one of the worst I've ever seen. It's like a couple of notches above William Knight's performance against Marcin Cracknell. So, but Prado's still only 22 years old, and the kid's got legit power. And if he moves up, which he has now, I think his style suits what he does well, which is hit hard. And if he's going to march forward, which is what he's going to need to do if he's up at 170, because he's always going to be the shorter guy, the less long guy. So he's going to definitely have to go in there and get into the pocket in order to make things happen. And that's what I want to see out of Prado. I want to see forward pressure constantly. I want to see him trust his chin, and I want to see him break his opponents in half. But after seeing that fight against Malarkey, and then seeing him not really do it to Zellhuber either. I mean, the Azatar knockout doesn't mean much to me, but then you look on the other side and it's Matthews, and you got to lay almost minus 200 on this guy. Not a good idea. I mean, like, he just lost to Semmelsberger. Semmelsberger was the harder hitter, and he won the minutes of that fight by winning the moments of it, by just being the guy that's willing to get in there and swing. And I could see Prado potentially doing the same thing. But like I said, I've still got to write up this fight, analyze the trends, the strength of schedule, look at the striking, the grappling, the strengths and weaknesses, and then I'll come to a decision. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this one.
Key, what are you thinking?
Yeah, this is a pass for me. Prado's, I'm not sure how to feel about this move up. It'll be interesting to see what some of these clinch exchanges and physicality looks like. And if Matthews, I think this line is predicated on the idea of Matthews getting some sort of grappling going. I have to imagine he does. I think that this could end up looking like a banger if Matthews chooses to fight like a dumbass, or it could look like another one of the Malarkey performance. The traveling again, and I believe ATT all said for Prado. So I'm sure that they're shooting him up with everything they have in the back, as we know. So I can only imagine the power gets even better. But in all seriousness, I think that Jake Matthews probably gets it done here. I'm not running to parlay minus 250 or play it straight on Jake Matthews against my grandmother, probably. So I'm damn sure not doing it against somebody with a pulse. So this is a pass fight for me. I think that Matthews, hopefully he isn't still in love with his hands and understands that he has a pretty wide grappling advantage here. So I hope he takes advantage of it. But I'm pretty sure somebody on our panel has a pretty strong opinion on Prado.
Dravhy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think you're referring to me. I posted it as my free bet of the week. There's a couple reasons for that. Weezy, I pull a U on this one. I have a couple stats for you. You're gonna like it. And if you look at Matthews in his last couple fight, by the way, not a lot of people talk about it, but Matthews also started his career like at 19 years old in the UFC, but he was a lightweight. He moved up to welterweight also. Just something to take note of. Like Prado is also a lightweight moving up to welterweight at a young age. Just something to take note of. But was what I was about to say is, if you look in the last couple of years of Matthew's career, in his last 5 fights and 65 minutes of fight time, he only attempted 5 takedowns and he went 2 for 5. And also to note, 4 of these 5 guys does not have good takedown defense or ground game, and he was the much better grappler in 4 of 5 of these fights, and he decided to strike because he fell in love with his hands. So I feel like it was interesting. 65 minutes of fight time. It's a big sample size against bad grappler, and he only attempted 5 takedowns. So something to take note of in that fight, especially because we've seen Prado taking down. We know his weakness is the takedown defense. But I'll say that moving to American Top Team, his first full camp here, he's been training there for a couple months, and he's removed from a year off and moving up a weight class. These fighters, when they are 21, 22 years old with a full year off and a new camp, that's where we can expect improvements from the guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if a camp like ATT that his takedown defense look better if Matthews tried to take him down. I'm not sure he's gonna grapple here. That's kind of the thing. Like, why are you not wrestling Samusberger or Fiallo? Like, he's winning some of these fights via like speed and durability, and some other fights where he's facing someone that can match his speed or power and durability, he's losing. Samusberger fight was a bad look, and I can see something similar happen here in the sense that Prado hit like a truck, and he reminds me of Drew Dober. Look like Drew Dober 2.0. Like, the guy can crack. He has an iron chin. If you watch back the Daniel Zellhuber fight, he won the first round in the Zellhuber fight, by the way. He looked good, but then in the second round, it was very close, but he got hit with a jab that split his eye open, and he couldn't see in one of his eyes, and he still managed to go all 15 minutes and make the fight competitive, but he won the first round, and then a shit happened with his eye. So, Zellhuber also is taller and longer than Matthews and a better striker, in my opinion. He was able to get in the inside and then damage. So I think he's going to be able to do the same here. And sometimes I've noticed Matthews accepting being on the back foot and trying to counter guys. But if he does that and Prado enter the pockets, look for his left hook. He has a very good left hook, and I think he can have a lot of success in that fight. Matthews got cracked in round 3 by Sean Brady with the left hook. He got hurt in that fight, and the way he's jabbing, like the double jab to the right hand, looked good, but he's dropping his hand, and I feel like Prado in the pocket, he can take advantage of that. And like, Prado's a dog. He's just a guy you want to have your money on as a big underdog price like that. He never quit on himself, and he's going to look to land big shots. And we've seen Matthews hurt before. And if he doesn't grapple here, there's just no way you cover that price tag, even though he's the much more experienced fighter and he has grappling upside. I don't really think he's going to grapple that much here. And if he doesn't, Prado has a very good chance to win it. And I also don't think Matthews is going to finish. I don't see a KO. I don't see a sub either. So I feel like his path is probably a decision, and he's minus 230 or something. So kind of remind me of the Jousset fight we talked about. But in that case, I can really see a path for Prado, landing the bigger shot, doing more damage, hurting Matthews, probably maybe even knocking him out. So he could win a decision based of just doing more, landing the damage, being the one pressuring, or he could also find a kill shot. So I think at the price you can get like 2-1 on Prado, with a guy that's going to fight for your money, that's going to pressure Matthews, that's going to, like, he has an iron chin, and, I think he has a very good chance to win it. And at this age, with the layoff, the new camp, we can see some improvements in that spot. So we'll see. But Matthews is always a guy that sometimes doesn't do what he needs to make the fight easy. And I feel like here against Prado, Prado can make him pay for that.
Yeah. All right. So there you have it. Look at the comments real quick. Matthew's decision. Zesty he's going to be the Zesty Argentinian. Let's see. He's got Jake Matthews to win here via grappling, but can't with these odds. Yeah. Also, being an ATT, getting that good ATT water, that makes sense. These people, I forgot to switch the screen too late. I'm aware. Here we go. Prado's last fight on his contract, going to fight for your money. This guy thinks it's going to a decision as well. Listen, calling me from New Jersey is probably more disrespectful than me calling you broke. I'm from New York. But either way, thanks for watching, Foog. It's all jokes. Prado fills out well at 170. I agree. Glenbroth's also on Prado. Jake the Snake going to bully him in the clinch. I mean, if he wrestles, he could have success, but I don't really think we're going to see him wrestle. You could take the split decision. Oh, no, you're never going to get a split decision, he's saying. Okay. Prado 2-3. Definitely an interesting look here. Prado no decision. Prado no action. I don't mind that bet at all. What are the odds on that? I don't even know what the odds on that are. And then 18-hour flight, he's dead. Yep, exactly. Next fight here. Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. Jimmy Crute's 12-4-1. He's 28, 6'2", 74-inch reach. Rodolfo Bellato, 12-2, 29, 6'3", 77.5-inch reach. Right now, odds in these two gentlemen, you get Jimmy Crute anywhere from plus 140 to plus 125. You get Bellato anywhere from minus 150 to minus 160. I'll go first here. Looking into this fight, I was actually looking at a Rodolfo Bellato bet. Cardio-wise, I give him the upside. Size, I give him the upside. BJJ, I give him the upside. Wrestling takedown defense, I give him the upside. His only issue is the chin. We've seen him get floored by Petrino. We watched the best guy ever, Topuria, get a knockdown on him, basically bobble his head off the floor. I'm surprised they didn't stop that fight. He kind of got lucky. He does recover well, which I like, but right now he's going up against Jimmy Crute, where Jimmy Crute is at Bang Muay Thai right now. He's going to throw that heavy overhand right. I don't think he's going to get his wrestling going, so he's just going to be swinging for the fences. Issue with the Jimmy Crute side is you just don't know what you're getting with Jimmy Crute at this point. He obviously retired after going on a 4-fight losing streak at 27 years old. Now he's coming back. If you listen to his podcast on his page, he recently found God and, did that whole spiel, and he said he still got fight in him. So you don't really know what you're going to get. Because of the chin, that's why I'm staying off this. I can't really lay chalk on a guy who keeps his hands down and has a shitty chin, which is Bellato. But yeah, so I guess I'm going to probably go with the under here. I think we get to see a finish either way. Jimmy Crute shoots a lazy takedown. He'll get subbed by Bellato. Bellato's going to get in your face and push you the pace the whole time, so he could obviously knock on anyone. It is light heavyweight. And then Jimmy Crute, obviously, winging that overhand right, could catch Bellato. Bellato's chin's not good. So I'll take the under here. What are you thinking, Key?
Yeah, I think under is probably a decent look. But yeah, this is a pass fight for me. Crute, I don't know what I'm going to get. Bellato, I do not rate highly at all. I think that this is sort of an awkward spot. I think the matchup would have obviously been much more preferred here. So it is a pass fight for me. I don't rate either guy. Crute at one time, the Minifield fight, just questionable IQ, to say the least, in some moments. So I'll just put it like that. But though that first one was just so winnable. But it is what it is. I hope that this new journey that he's been on, good for him on finding a higher power. I hope that he can get it done in front of the home crowd.
Drav?
I think there's a couple ways to play this fight, but I didn't play anything. I'll give you guys the best that I was looking at. Fight end by KO. You can get plus money on that. I think it's a solid play just because they both have 44% striking defense. They both get cracked a lot, and I feel like they're going to stand and bang. I don't really see a sub on either side. They're both pretty competent grappler, and I feel like more often than not, they're going to submit each other. So, but I don't trust really any of these guys' chin, and striking defense is terrible. But like Crute hit hard, Bellato hit hard. The things I like about Bellato, even though I'm not that high on him, like he said, but the pressure and the cardio and the pace that these guys push on is pretty fucking insane at light heavyweight. We don't see that often. So that's a good thing for him. Like, he doesn't care about getting hit, which could be a problem, but like the clinch game that he has, the pace that he pushed, the cardio that he has, it's very, very effective. So I can see him breaking Crute, but I can also see Crute landing just a big shot and putting him out. Bellato is also a dog. Like, he's gonna fight for your money if he gets hurt, but we don't really know. Like, at this point in his career, if Crute get hurt badly, what is he gonna do, right? Like, coming back, he retired at 27 years old, coming back, saying that he found Jesus Christ, that like he's enjoying the process, but he also says things that I don't like to hear. Like he doesn't he doesn't say he doesn't care to win or lose, but he basically said that he doesn't really needs to fight. He like the things he was saying in interviews make me think that he don't really care if he win or not, even though he didn't say that right away. But like he's there. I don't need to be in the UFC. I don't need to be a fighter. My life is good outside of that and things like that. So like he might lose this fight and retire again. So I don't want anything to do with a guy like that. But he's at my Bangdao Muay now with Jake Matthews, so maybe we see improvements in his striking defense. But again, it's just a very volatile fight, and I can trust either guy with my money. I'll just trust Bellato a bit more because he's been more active. He's been, the guy that is all in into MMA, and he's a dog. So I think he's the side, but I'm not willing to pay minus 160 on this guy that block punches with his head. So we'll see, though. I think fight end by KO is a good look at plus 100.
Uncle, what are you thinking? Uncle Weezy.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun fight, dude. This is going to be such a fun fight. And I love the pace that Bellato pushes. He pressures nonstop. He's got excellent cardio for a big man, excellent jiu-jitsu for a big man. And Crute, I'm interested to see him coming back, because, he's had a rough run. He turned his life over to Jesus Christ. And, I always wonder what Jesus thinks when he sees these guys coming. Is he like, Jimmy, let me help you? Or is he like, for Christ's sake, is that Jimmy Crute? Guy is like 0-3-1 in his last 4 fights. He probably wants to turn his life over to me now. Taxi, I always wonder, how Jesus approaches that. But hopefully Jesus helped him out. I think maybe he stopped drinking a little bit and he's went to a better camp. He needs to work on that striking defense, dude. I bet the under here. I bet the fight doesn't start round 3 because these guys' striking defense is so bad. It's like hilariously bad. Both of them, just like their face is just a magnet for punches. So I see somebody getting knocked out here. So what I did was I took a shot because Crute's money line was plus 140 and his inside the distance prop opened at plus 400. And Jimmy Crute's not a minute winner, ladies and gentlemen, and not against Bellato either. This guy is not a fight IQ guy. He's looking to go out there and finish you. And if he doesn't, he's probably going to get finished. So I took a shot on Crute inside the distance at plus 400. I also took a shot on Crute by submission, which opened up at plus 1,500. I mean, this guy's got a really good Brazilian jiu-jitsu game, and I see a club and sub being very likely in this scenario. So I took a couple of shots on some Crute violence props, but I also played the fight doesn't start round 3, and I parlayed that with the over 2.5 rounds in the Micallef Jousset fight. So I got I think plus 210 on that. So I like violence here, and I'm taking some small shots on Crute because I think that this is a big step down in competition from the level that he's been fighting prior to this. I think the time off is going to do him some good, and we'll see where this one shakes out. But I think it's going to be a violent fight.
Key, close it.
Didn't I already go on this one?
I don't think so. I thought it was me, then Drav, then Weezy, then you.
No, I'm pretty sure I went. I said that Crute.
Yeah, you said you wanted no part of this fight, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right, so it's on me.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right,
how many beers did you drink tonight? That's the
Moving
question.
on. No beers tonight. I've been good tonight. No beers tonight. Crute inside the distance. Crute plus 40. KO 5-1. Under 1.5 plus 110. Yeah, I like the under. Honestly, I'm probably gonna be on that at some point. Just kind of watching. I gotta watch and make sure the limits open up so I could get my huge bet down. Let's see here. Let's see. Petrino fucked him out of 500 to win 20K. That's crazy. Yeah, Brad Riddell's over there with Whaley and all those guys at Bang Muay Thai. Okay, we got a head cut sighting here. Haircuts are undefeated. I think that's only with the Brazilian guys, though, to be honest, because then you're going to see a guy like Strickland who shaves his head bald and he's going to get knocked out. So that's usually how that goes with the bald head look. Dennis Miller fan, Wheezy.
Oh God, yeah. That joke that I told is like from a 40-year-old Dennis Miller comedy routine in a video called Black and White. I saw it in high school. That's how old it is. So yeah, he's right about that.
That's awesome. All right. Let's go to our next fight here. It's a heavyweight bout. We got Justin Tafa versus Thaleson Teixeira. Thaleson Teixeira is 7-0, 25, 6'7", 83-inch reach. Justin Tafa, 7-4, 31, 6 feet tall, 74-inch reach. Odds these two gentlemen, you can get Thaleson Teixeira anywhere from -137 to -140. You get Justin Tafa anywhere from +110 to +120. Yeah, Tafa by KO for me. That's kind of where I'm going with this one. Uncle Weezy, what do you think? When you go last, what are you thinking for this one? You think Tafa finds the KO, or does Thaleson somehow put this together and find a win here in his biggest step up ever?
I'm kind of agnostic on who wins the fight. I think somebody's going to get violently served in the first round of this fight. I think Tafa's going to win by first round KO, but I could see either one of these guys getting knocked out. Tafa's only been finished in 1 of 4 losses, but if you look at the guys that he lost to that did not finish him, those guys have got 0 finishes in their wins in the UFC. I think it's Carlos Felipe, Jared Vandera, and I forget the other guy who outpointed him, but it's somebody who's finished nobody. So I think that Teixeira, a guy who's never been out of the first round as a professional, I think Teixeira's entire MMA career has lasted, let me give you the exact number, 13 minutes.
Okay.
You know, there's like sophomores in high school who are fucking for longer than that. So I don't think that I mean, like, we just don't know anything about Teixeira. We know that he's pretty hittable. We know that he's obviously super tall and long for the division. He's got some power. He's got a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but we've never really seen him grapple on any of the available tape. So UFC debut, long flight to Australia to fight a local guy in Tafa who's got a ton of power in his hands early in fights. I think it's probably a Tafa first round KO, but I bet the under 1.5 rounds here. I put 2 units on it at -175.
Okay. I like that. What are you thinking, Key?
Yeah, I really don't know. I see. I saw. I think it's an Aussie Fight Fan, or somebody posted a sub angle earlier today for Teixeira. I can understand taking shots on that. We know Tafa brothers are definitely white belts. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But I think I have to imagine that if Teixeira did not put a huge emphasis on striking defense in this camp, that he's going to get bonked here. Just the way that he was getting touched up. I don't know if he just took the matchup lightly or what it was, but the way that he was getting touched up on Dana White Contender Series is just not going to fly, especially against a guy like Tafa. It'll be interesting to see how some of these exchanges play out. I would like to see if Teixeira tries to even use his range, but I really don't know. So I think that this fight is probably lined correctly, although Teixeira has an insane amount of physical advantages. He negates them by fighting the way that he does. So this will be interesting to see play out. Tafa bonk is very, very live. I can't blame anybody taking dog shots. But for me, it's a pass.
Dravy.
Yeah, I kind of think you gotta. It's ugly, but I think you gotta bet Tafa here. I mean, I don't like the guy that much, but at the end of the day, he has 10 UFC fights. He's fighting at home. He hit hard. He's fast. He's good in the pocket. And this guy's Teixeira. Yeah, he's super big. He's long. He's tall. But at the end of the day, he doesn't really use his reach well. He's staying in the pocket too much, getting cracked. Almost all of his fight is getting touch up in the pocket. He seems to have a great chin, but the thing I'll say about that is he's getting hit by guys that are much smaller than him and guys that doesn't hit as hard as Tafa. So if Tafa crack him like that in the pocket, like I think he will, he's going to put him out. I really think so. So, like, he has a good jab, Teixeira. He has a good one too, but he always finds himself trying to swing in the pocket. And yes, he has a big reach advantage here, but I think that's going to play against him just because, the shorter arms in the pockets, going to get to the target faster. And I believe that in the pocket, Tafa's going to have the faster hands. And because of the reach difference, he's going to be landing first on Teixeira. And I don't think Teixeira is going to be able to land his punch first. That's a good angle, I think, in that fight. And also, Tafa is very durable, I feel like. So he could get knocked out here, but he's the more proven fighter. He's fighting at home. And again, 10 UFC fights to his credit. Not the best competition, but still, Teixeira never fought anyone good yet. That's his first step up in competition. That's his UFC debut. His cardio, we don't really know. Chin, I mean, he gets cracked in a lot of these fights against these bums. And at the Dana White Contender Series fight, he was getting land on clean by this bum. So Tafa's going to land big shot on him. And the first guy that has the power to match him and the size to match him. So, yeah, of course, Teixeira could just win with the jab at distance and put him out. But I feel like it should be a pick 'em at worst. Whoever land first going to win by knockout, I think. But at least I know what I'm going to get with Tafa backing him. He's going to swing in the pocket and trying to find a kill. And Teixeira is he's going to be right there to be cracked.
Yep, I agree. I mean, KO is plus 180 on FanDuel. I think I was going to play Tafa. I was just going to play that instead. That was kind of my way of looking at it. Also, I like what Luigi said as well, is under 1.5. I mean, Teixeira's covered that in pretty much every fight, and Tafa is going to be swinging for the fences. So both those are fair. Teixeira easy win. If he grapples, I don't know. We're really going to see.
I mean, he's supposedly a BJJ black belt, but I've watched his tapes, and he's never tried to grapple in any fights that I've watched. And he had some opportunity in the clinch to do so. He never tried. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess he's a black belt and he could grapple, but it's like, if I've never seen it on tapes, like, you got to show me.
Yeah. All right, co-main event of the evening. It's a women's fight. Weili Zhang versus Tatiana Suarez. Weili Zhang, 25-3, 35, 5'4", 63-inch reach. Tatiana Suarez, 10-0, 34, 5'5", 66-inch reach. Right now, odds in these two ladies, you can get Weili Zhang anywhere from plus 105 to plus 100. You can get Tatiana Suarez anywhere from minus 125 to minus 110. High-level girls fight. I'm on Weili already, plus 107. I think I got. Key, women's fight. Your Super Bowl right here. Tatiana Suarez has finally made it to her title shot that she's been destined for years, through all the injuries, through this, through that, yada, yada, yada. She's finally made it. So when Weili beats her, then what? Tell me.
This will be interesting. And I haven't gotten down on the side here yet. And who knows if I end up talking myself into it. But it's a shame the Suarez career has played out like this. I mean, all these injuries, cancer, and she is one of the greatest talents we've seen on the women's side. And I don't say that as hyperbole. Like, genuinely, she is one of the greatest talents that we've seen on the women's side in MMA. I do not think that she's the same fighter as she was, though, pre-injuries. 2019, 2018 version of her probably does disgusting things to Weili, and this line would not be a line that we're getting. But this version has Andrade getting up against her, Montana De La Rosa giving her some resistance, and that just wouldn't have happened back in the day. I just don't believe so. And I bet her, I believe I bet her fancy score on Prize Picks versus Andrade and cashed that, and Montana De La Rosa, I believe I had sub and cashed that. But outside of the finishing sequences, I wasn't sitting there like, oh, this is just an amazing bet. I'm so glad that I placed this. Like, I wasn't feeling great. And it wasn't that I thought like, oh, she's going to get knocked out any second now. But it was the fact that she was just not having the success that I assumed that she would. And athletically, she just looks stiffer. She doesn't look as fluid. And the technique is still there. The single legs are still beautiful. But I just don't think that she's as physically imposing as she once was. Now on the Weili side, Weili is physically one of the best athletes we've also seen on the women's side. I think just a freak athlete. And I know that we talk about a lot of her power, but her speed and now her scrambling abilities have started to look a lot better. Especially thinking about the Rose fights where she lost minutes and rounds off of her back. And that is the fear here. Weili's kryptonite has been having to fight off of her back. And although that her offensive grappling has, just taken leaps, insane leaps, and especially in these last 2 fights, we've seen her really be able to put together rounds of top time. I'm not sure what she's going to look like off of her back. I imagine that she's going to scramble hard and she's going to force Suarez to work. And if Andrade is getting up against you, then I fear that Weili probably is going to get up a couple times. But I'm unsure what it's going to look like up against the cage. Weili's not going to be able to let go of those kicks as easily as she usually does. That you're not going to have the freedom whenever you're fighting a wrestler of this caliber. You just can't throw kicks as freely as you would like. On the feet, though, obviously Weili has the advantage, cardio advantage. I have to assume Weili has it. We've never seen Tatiana go 5 rounds before. And round 3 of Nina Nunes, shit was starting to get a little scary there. And if that fight is a 5-rounder, what are we talking about here? So this is a very, very interesting fight. I'm so excited for it. Excited to the point where I don't even want to pick a side, honestly. I'm going to side with Weili because activity is king, or in this case, queen in this sport. We think about it even last week, ZM versus Mike Davis. And I backed Mike Davis there. And I know he had all the excuses of the paint and the injuries after, blah, blah, blah. But whenever you're not in constant competition, there's just a rhythm whenever you are in it. And we think about even the greatest runs that we've seen in the sport. Conor McGregor could be active. And so I really think that is going to prove true here. Weili, we've seen her grow in the grappling. I have to imagine that this camp was very much built on a lot of takedown defense. It's the obvious game plan here. So I think that Weili, although she's getting older, I do think that she figures out a way to get this done. I will say, though, live betting might be the better option here because I do expect Suarez to get some sort of grappling success. If she doesn't get any, this is a complete ass whooping in the making here if she gets no grappling success. But I have to imagine that she gets something in rounds 1 and 2. And so in that case, I think that we're looking at a prime live bet spot for Weili. And I honestly think that a lot of Suarez win condition rides in round 1, round 2, sub or positional TKO. Because I really don't know if she's going to be able to put together 5 rounds of good work versus Weili. And so for that reason, I'm going to side with Weili. But this is such a good fight. This is my main event for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I took 1.5 units on Zhang and left myself with half a unit to sprinkle on her in round 3. I think she wins 3, 4, 5 at a pretty high clip. If you watch the Nina fight, Tatiana does get tired. She claims it's because of the neck injury and injuries going on, but I don't know what you could say. We don't know how her cardio is over the course of championship rounds, things like that. We know Weili Zhang ain't getting tired. Weili Zhang's wrestling has improved fight after fight. She stops a takedown and actually stays on the feet. She looks minus 300. She gets taken down and gets mauled. She doesn't. So you either hop in on a live line or she looks great the whole time. That's my kind of look on it. Dravhy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, people are shitting on this card a little bit, right? But first of all, I think it's a good card for betting. Going to be a lot of fun fights. But this fight, as far as women's MMA goes, one of the best fights we've seen in a long time. I'm very excited to see it. I can't imagine how hyped he is, considering how hype I am. But yeah, I know a lot of people are very confident in Suarez this week. And she's a dominant fighter. I can understand the reasons, but to play her at talk or play her at pick'em, I can't understand though. She's gonna look good early, probably. Her grappling's insane, but her guillotine is very good now with Patchy Mix. We know that, but like he said, activity is very important in MMA. And at the end of the day, she's not been in the 3rd round for a long time. She's never won 25 minutes in her entire UFC or MMA career. And she's facing here the best girl she's ever fought, but also the strongest girl she's ever fought. And I feel like Weili can match her on physicality. And that's something Suarez has never seen before. And Weili knows the game plan here. Like, she needs to defend the takedowns. I've seen her getting taken down by less grappler and hold down sometimes. Her get-up game doesn't look the best. So there's concerns about that. But I also seen girl like Andrade and De La Rosa getting back up recently against Suarez. And I think Weili can scramble like that as well. So I don't know, man. The way I look into this fight is I guess Suarez can have some success on the feet with the kicks at distance. But in the boxing, in the pocket, I mean, Weili is so much better. She also hit very hard and she's fast. Suarez, I mean, I've seen her getting clipped a little bit on the chin, but like she's never got hit as hard as I think Weili's gonna hit her. And again, it's just a fight where Weili doesn't have the best cardio herself for 25 minutes, but I've seen her go 25 minutes multiple times. I've seen her fight for championship multiple times. I know what I'm getting with her. It's probably one of the best fighters in women's MMA. Maybe Suarez is. She's probably, but like, let's find out. Like, it's now or never for her. So I don't know, man. I feel like Weili's more proven. She's more well-rounded. She's the better striker, more power, proven over 25 minutes, the current champion. So yeah, I guess Suarez could submit her. I guess Suarez could win the early round or win on top time. But again, I don't think it's going to be easy. I feel like it's going to be competitive, but I feel like any dog shot on Weili is warranted here. And if you've done your job and you bet Suarez when she was like plus 130, plus 140, then props to you, because I feel like it was a good bet. But at these price that we're talking right now, where Weili Zhang is around plus 105, I think she's got to be decided. And I feel like she's going to retain her championship on Saturday night. Very excited for this one.
Okay. Uncle Wheezy, did you go on this one? Not yet, right?
No, not yet. And I mean, I think that Weili is the side here. Look, there are just so many unanswered questions right now on Tatiana Suarez. When we've seen Tatiana in the cage, she has looked absolutely phenomenal. But look, I mean, she's got her MMA career has lasted 10 years and 6 months, and she's only fought 10 times. She's fought twice in the last 4.5 years. And she's 34 years old too. I mean, even though Zhang's the older fighter here at 35, you know, I mean, like, activity is just so important, like he said. And Weili Zhang has not just been more active than Tatiana Suarez. Dude, look what she's been doing, right? So we've seen Tatiana a couple of times. She looked all right against Montana. She looked pretty good against Jessica Andrade. Look, back in June of 2022, Weili Zhang almost murdered Joanna Jędrzejczyk. You remember that spinning back elbow that she finished her with? In the first round, she was on top of her for 3.5 minutes, pounding her fucking head through the canvas. After she dismantles the greatest strawweight of all time in Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she goes on to fight the first ever strawweight champion, Carla Esparza. She beats 7 shades of shit out of poor Carla and finishes her with a crucifix rear naked choke. Just absolutely puts on a clinic. So then after she beats poor Carla before her wedding and then goes to jail for 3 months for assault and battery, she comes out and absolutely kicks the shit out of poor Amanda Lemos, who hits like a man, got absolutely destroyed for 5 consecutive rounds. The fight should have been stopped. And whoever that referee was it Herzog? It was Kevin McDonald. He went to jail for not stopping the fight for 6 months. And then what happened after that? Poor Yan Xiaonan gets a title shot. And what happens there? Weili becomes the first woman to win by KO, submission, and decision in the same fight. It was not close. She beat the shit out of her for 5 straight rounds. So we've got this big chunk of missing information on the Tatiana Suarez side. There's all these questions. There's the injury. She's a 2-time cancer survivor. She's torn up her knee twice. She's had a bad neck injury. And then on the other side, you got Weili not just winning, but like dismantling Yan Xiaonan, Amanda Lemos, former champions in Carla Esparza and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Like, how do you get to a Suarez bet here? And I feel like this is the what you do. You just bet Wei Li, throw a couple units on her. You're getting plus money. And if you lose, it's one of the best stories ever. It's one of the great stories of perseverance and stick-to-itiveness if Tatiana Suarez flies to Australia and wins this fight over Wei Li Zhang. Because, I've been rooting for Tatiana since day one. I'm rooting for anybody that can come back after being diagnosed with cancer not once but twice and then come back and be an athlete at the level that she's been at. So I'm rooting for her, but I don't care who I'm rooting for. It's always a lot more fun when I'm cashing tickets, and I think that Wei Li Zhang is the side.
All right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everyone across the board. We're on Wei Li. Let's take a look at these comments real quick, then we'll move on to our main event. Wei Li plus 100. They agree. Everyone's talking about being Suarez, the line moved like crazy. I think it was open plus 170. He moved over there. Zhang is that bang Muay Thai, and he's got the Hickman brothers with her. They're great wrestling coaches. We've seen her improve every time. She even had Cejudo with her at one point. They think this fight's going to end up like Islam versus Moicano. That's hot take and new. Live bet on Zhang. Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely a big difference in BJJ. I'd agree there. But I'm not sure that she's going to find the sub here. Yeah, okay. Longer flight. We're talking flights again. Here we go. People are going to get triggered. Wiley, she's set on the ground. I'm concerned she won't be able to. I don't know. I think she'll be okay. I think we're okay here, honestly. Okay. Who are you smashing, Wei Li or Tatiana? Probably have to go with Tatiana here. If I had to pick someone,
man, you're a Wei Li guy. We know that. You're
I'm a Tatiana.
That's okay.
I like my Latina mommies. That's just how it goes.
She would slam you right on the bed.
She could do that if she wants to. It's fine with me. Okay, he's gonna think she's snoring. Should I get my Zhang bet in now, or do you think she stays the underdog? I get it in now. I think late money is gonna come in on Zhang personally. Or you could wait for the live line, like we talked about. Put 1 unit now and 1 unit live, or 1 unit now and half a unit live, which is plus 300 after round 1. Whatever you want to do. All right, let's go to our main event here. Main event of the evening is going to be, we got Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. I'm going to flip that over here. Dricus du Plessis, 22-2. He's 31, 6'1", 76-inch reach. Sean Strickland, 29-6, 33, 6'1", 76-inch reach. Line on these two gentlemen, it's a lot wider than the first fight. Dricus is minus 205. Sean is anywhere from plus 175 to plus 165. All right. We'll have Uncle Weezy start first. Our main event. These fights kind of always go different, as Jav likes to say. He always likes to say rematches go different. Do you think this fight goes any different here?
See, it probably should, right? Because Dravhy's right about that. It's the ones that you think are going to go exactly the same that somehow completely go different. The one that I'm thinking of right now, which is fresh in our minds, is Ciryl Gane versus Volkov. They sit at distance and they strike for 5 rounds the first time. And then the second time, it's a grappling match? What? Neither one of these guys ever grapples. Dude, I keep all the stats. Dude, Volkov had 3 times as many UFC fights as he had takedown attempts in his UFC career. And he's out there grappling against Ciryl Gane. So, it's we don't really know how it's going to go. But here's the thing that's interesting is that Sean Strickland is going to be the exact same fighter. He's always the exact same fighter. Pre or post motorcycle accident, this is a guy who's going to try to march forward, stay behind a jab and a low kick, be light on that lead leg, check the leg kicks, and try to work you with pressure and volume and tire you out. And he's not going to all of a sudden start wrestling. He's not going to all of a sudden start sitting down on his punches and start one punch and knockout dudes. That's not going to happen. So I think we're going to get a pretty similar fight here. And think about it, right? That first fight was a pick'em. it played out like a pick'em. Drickus got the nod, but here we are now. What's changed? Other than the location, which is closer to home for Drickus, nothing's really changed yet. Drickus is minus 200. And I agree with him being the favorite. Like, he's younger. He's got more power on the feet, so I think he's got more moment-winning potential, whether it's standing or whether it's on the mat. And, you know, I think the career trajectory is just a little bit better right now. And he's got more upside to win minutes in the grappling exchanges here because Drickus attempts 6.1 takedowns per 15 minutes. Sean Strickland doesn't offensively wrestle at all. So I think there's some power upside. There's some youth upside for Drickus. And there's some minute winning upside with the grappling. But the last fight, Drickus got 6 takedowns. He only got 2 minutes of control time off of those takedowns, and he landed exactly 0 significant ground strikes with that top time. So the grappling really wasn't a factor. So do you want to lay minus 200 on Drickus if he can't get the grappling game going here? I think that this fight's going to play out really close. I think the money line side is Strickland because I think he's going to keep this fight very close, but I do think that Drickus is going to win a decision here.
Okay. Drav, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so obviously I'm a DDP expert on this podcast, as we know. I have play him at plus money against Sean the first time, got plus 115, and then play him at plus money against Adesanya. I got some shit from the boys playing him because he looks so ugly on tapes, but the guy is just so effective, man. He's strong, he's effective, and he's a winner. He has the will to win at all costs. So you got to respect that. But I used to bet this guy at plus money, not on minus 200. That's kind of my thing here, though. The first fight was very competitive, but the things I've noticed is like the first fight was a war. A lot of big shots were landed, and the thing is like the way I see the fight playing out differently this time around is if we go the market, like they reverse a lot of these lines. Someone mentioned in the comment he played DDP decision plus 1,000 the first time. Now the same prop is around plus 200, right? The first fight, correct me if I'm wrong, Wizzy, but I'm pretty sure the under was chalk and the over was plus money. Gotta be, though, I'm pretty sure. And the line was very close, right? So it was favored to go inside the distance. It was Sean Strickland the favorite. And now full reverse. DDP's the favorite, a big one at that, at minus 205, and the under 4.5 rounds sit at plus 165. And the Duplessis fight, a guy that has 91% finish rate, that in a 25 minutes fight, he's gonna have 25 minutes to finish Sean Strickland here. And because he won the decision the last one, they think he's just gonna win a decision again. But if you got 10-1 the last fight, you're probably looking at that and be like, okay, you can get DDP KO at 4-1, plus 400, and a guy that's going to try to take your heads off. And Sean Strickland, he's very good defensively, but he got knocked out before in the past, so it could happen here. And just the way Duplessis fight, he has reckless abandon, he get hit a lot, and Strickland's very technical. He could capitalize on it. And the thing that I've said the first fight that will be the difference in it, and even Duplessis talk about it, is like Duplessis is going to be the one pressuring Sean, and that's what you need to do to beat him. And Duplessis is very aware of that. He said that that was just part of the game plan, and he mixed up the takedowns. Just something that Sean had to think about it, even though he didn't really do much with it. That was still in his head that this guy was trying to take him down. So in this fight, the way I see it is I think DDP is going to win again, but I think he's going to finish him this time around. I think that's what's going to be different. I like the under also. I feel like I don't think Sean's going to finish him, but he does have some KO upside just because of DDP's style and the fact that it's 25 minutes. And DDP has some submission upside, but it had to be more of a club and sub for him to submit Sean. But I think Duplessis is going to knock him out this time around. And you can get a guy like Duplessis to have 25 minutes to knock a guy out at plus 400. Give me that. So younger guy, the champion. And I'll say, though, the guy looked drunk sometimes on tapes, but if you listen to his interview, he's very smart. He knows the game plan. He knows what to do to win. Very aware of that. It looked to be very training in the pocket, like in the boxing pocket. That's where I think like you feel like he can potentially catch Sean, and he's probably going to try to go the body, trying to, make him drop his end and then come up on the top with like a left hook, like Para did, something like that. I can see that happening. Duplessis had a lot of success with kicks also in the first fight. So yeah, he's going to pressure Sean, and I feel like this time he's going to find the bottom. So we'll see. But DDP KO is my prediction this time. So, and still.
Key, what do you think?
Yeah, this line is kind of crazy to me. But again, Sean Strickland, I mean, we're talking about jabbing teep for 5 rounds. And I do think that the cut was pretty big last time out. But Sean did, I believe, won all judges' scorecards in round 5.
Yeah, 1 in 5, I believe it was.
Yeah. So, and I expect for him to win round 5. I think he win if you give them 10 fights. I think that he wins round 5 at a pretty high clip every time if it makes it there. But it's just optics. DDP is going to have the better optics. He's going to have the bigger moments. Sean's margins are just thin because he's not going to knock you out. He's not going to put a stamp on anything. So his margins are thin. It feels like in every fight, and he's managed to get away with it, but he's also gotten fucked a couple times. And his last loss being one of those moments, but also, I mean, we go back to even the Cannonier fight at the end of 2022. Again, just optics. And so DDP, although he's not going to have any real top control here, is the deciding factor, the extra takedown, the extra bullshit takedown at the end of the round. Does that sway one of the judges? I just think that you're playing kind of Russian roulette with the judges' scorecards if you're backing Sean here, but I can't blame him. What's current line is plus 175 on Bet Online right now for Sean. I think upwards of that is fine to take a shot. But I would keep it small because there is no finishing upside whatsoever. I think the DDP probably ends up winning another decision here, but I think that this is just a close fight. I think that they match up pretty well for a good fight, for a good 5-rounder. So this will be interesting to see, but never forget whenever Darren Till was fucking sniping DDP. That was my last Darren Till bet I ever had, and that we know how that went. But yeah, I won't talk about my losses too much longer. I think that DDP gets it done. That's the pick for prediction purposes, but I'm not touching that money line. Minus 200 and up is nasty work.
Yeah, I played under 4.5. I'm tailing Dravhy here. I don't think this goes the same. I think Jenkins is live for a KO. I think he's also live for a sub if he gets to the ground. Now everyone wants to play Twitter doctor. We're seeing now supposedly Sean Strickland has staph on his arm, or what people look like staffs. How reliable that is and how true that is, I don't really know. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's finishing upside for Jenkins. Very little for Sean. Sean may be KO if he liver shot or gets him tired, but not very likely. I haven't seen Jenkins finish before in the past 15 years, 10 years, whatever it's been. So, yeah, I think under is pretty fair here. I was between, honestly, if I wasn't on the under, Sean Strickland plus 5.5 is, I want to say it was minus 140 or minus 150. If you're not on the under like I am, I love that spread too. I think I'm going to end up doing my spread of the week being Jack Jenkins plus 3.5, minus 120, but Sean Strickland plus 5.5. You're going to play this fight. I mean, wins rounds 1 and 5 at a pretty big clip, 5 at a huge clip. I think you could probably get, 7.5 and 9.5 on DraftKings too, depending on the odds. I don't know what they're going to look like when those come out, but you can play plus 9.5, and all you have to do is win a round. So I don't know. That's the way I'd probably look at it. But yeah, like I said, I'm on the under. That's kind of how I'm going to play it. Hope someone dies. That's how it goes. All right. That's the show, guys. 2 hours, 15 minutes. We're going to do a quick BTL parlay, and then we'll get out of here. Uncle Weezy, I'm sure you're familiar with the BTL parlay already. Do you have any legs that you like?
Yeah, I think somebody's going to get violently served in the Teixeira Tafa fight. So why don't we do under 1.5 rounds for the big boys?
Okay, that's what, minus 175 around there?
I got minus 180 right now on Bet Online.
Correct.
Okay. Key?
Let's see. Pass on me. I'll let y'all go first.
We'll come back to you. Dravhy?
I'll take Gabriel Santos minus 225.
That's literally the one I was going to take. Okay. I'm going to take... Give me the... Actually, I can't get that on that book. What is the under on this? That's minus 190. This is great for airtime. I don't know which one I want. Give me, actually, you know what? Give me the over 2.5 on Prado and Jake Matthews.
And even though I didn't play her for BTL purposes, I'll go with Whaley.
Okay.
We all agree on her. So that's
Actually, I'm going to change up. I'm going to go with, give me a Borshchev money line.
Why not
That's a
the
nice
under?
parlay. Plus 720.
Yeah, plus 720. So Santos minus 225, under 1.5 for Tafa and Teixeira. Weili Zhang plus 105 and Borshchev minus 128 on Bet Online, plus 720. It's a juicy one.
Where did you go? Give me that again. Go through that one more time.
Santos minus 225, under 1.5 for Tafa, minus 180. Weili Zhang plus 105 and Borshchev minus 120. Minus 128, yeah. Plus 720.
Okay. I like that. Plus 720. All right, guys. Real quick, Uncle Weezy, where can these guys find you, listen to you? I'm sure you brought a bunch of fans here anyway. Where can they find you and listen to your next show?
Yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy. You can find me on the X at MMA Weezy, and I have Patreon and Dubclub where I do a UFC stats, metrics, and content package. I do 4 hours of shows every single week in terms of I do 2 hours for a full card breakdown. I do 2 hours of analysis of the prop betting markets using my proprietary models. So $25 a month gets you access to my Discord, access to all my tracked bets, the fight write-ups that I sent you guys, all those stats packages. It's all there for $25 a month. You can find me on Patreon and Dubclub and soon to be on OddsShopper as well. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for having me, guys. And I hope we stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 312.
Appreciate that, man. We appreciate you joining us. It was a great show. You're going to have you back for sure. You know that already. We'll have to jump on your show as well whenever you're welcome. Picks by Pegasus, Telegram, Twitter. It's all in the bio. Big news we have. Starting this week, we're going to be uploading our show's audio to Spotify. So all you people who want to listen on the go, listen in the car, listen while you work out, whatever you want to do. Whenever you want to listen, you'll now have it on YouTube. You'll have it on Twitter. You also have it on Spotify. Our first episode will be uploaded this week. I will put in the link in the bio, our link to the Spotify account. Key, what promos you and Dravhy got going?
Yeah, Drav's moved, but I'm still with Dubclub, link in bio. I'm actually probably about to drop a bet within these next 10 minutes. So if you DM me, code BTL, I'll hook you up with something special in the DMs. We just coming off a winning week at UFC Saudi. Expecting another big week, and I already got some bets out for future cards too. So hop in while you can, and I'll let Dravy talk about his OddsShopper, I believe.
Yeah, thank you, bro. So I joined OddsShopper. I talked about it a little bit last week, but basically the difference between it and Dubclub is when you're going to sign up on the OddsShopper's account, you're going to have a lot of tools to just help you make your bets and telling me at the same time if you want to subscribe to me. But you're also going to have a free pick section where you can scroll down like on X. You can just see other cappers that are certified and have contracts with OddsShoppers that are just betting free bets, posting free bets every day on a bunch of different sports. So you can tell these guys if you like them. You can, follow my bets, obviously. And you have like a parlay calculators to help you calculate your odds. You have something else to calculate your arbitrage on your bets, and you have a bunch of tools. Odds screen on the website directly. It's oddshoppers.com. 25 a month to have my bets. But I have 9 bets for this card. A lot of dogs on my end. If you want to join my services now, I run the promo 25% off on your first month. Just DM me BTL on Twitter. My DM Dravhy _. I also posted something on Twitter earlier today. I have a max bet already locked in for UFC Vegas 102. This is next week card. Already made the line move a little bit, but I posted something. If you want to try to guess it, if you have the correct guess, I'll give you a free month for my odd shoppers. And then if you just want to join me at the same time, get the CLV and get the max bet for next week in advance, where we crush CLV and all the bets for this week card. Hit me up Twitter, Dravhy _. I'll give you a 25% off, no problem. And I'll give you a scoop. It's not Angelino over Souza. Weezy, again, thanks for coming on our show. I always listen to you and Brady every week. Always a fun show. Definitely check these guys out. DFS by numbers on YouTube, where they go every week. They break down fights early. They talk about the stats, everything. And Weezy have his own YouTube channel. I'm sure Peg's gonna link it up in the description. Always a lot of stats, always a lot of good information to help you make your own bet as well. So thanks for coming on our podcast, Weezy. Much appreciate you. And I hope we all catch this week. Seems like a good card for betting. And man, I'm excited for it.
All right. Uncle Weezy, thanks again. We'll have you back soon. Peace, guys.